Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today with episode 207 of the H.A.M Radio Podcast.
And it's me, Karak with ACG.
And it's your boy, Fighting Cowboy, back again.
Excellent.
Yes, indeed, man. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We have a wonderful guest with us, and we have our post-E3 discussion. What we're going to be doing this episode is going through all the conferences, kind of giving our favorites and least favorites from them. As always, if you want to support the show, there are our Patreons linked down below, along with timestamps, by the way. I've seen a lot of people going in the comments and getting some top-rated shit for putting timestamps, and I've done that every episode since, I think the 80s or something. So if you're looking to skip around, because we have a pretty meaty introduction in this episode, just know that is always an option if you just want to hear, one conference thought or one game or one topic. That's why we have it, and why... we'll have a headline in the title, but maybe it's not our first topic because we give the option and have it preset for you to skip around. But anyway, yes, like I said, we do have our Patreons linked down below if you want early access to the show. We just had our biggest month on my personal Patreon last month, and I really appreciate you guys getting involved in that, because I think within the next month and a half, I will finally have my big plans in play, and I'll actually finally be able to show everyone where a lot of their patron funds have been going, and it's going to be really exciting. And I have some cool content plans to tie into the Patreon coming. So I'm not trying to sell you guys an idea right now, but just know cool things are coming. I appreciate you supporting. Also, this podcast got demonetized last week, so fortunately nothing else has been since, but very strange. So we'll see if this episode makes it out. And Karak got hit with pretty bad demonetization. Cowboy, I don't know if you have either, but...
I had a couple come on in, but they were all the same company. So they were just mass claiming gameplay. But
weird.
Dude, mine, how bad's yours, Matty? I have 128.
Ooh,
not that bad.
Demonetized.
No, mine are. I've been managing to fly under the radar for a while, and I don't know how. But I just...
You know why you're not now? Because you're doing all these videos that are starting to get the good hits in the Outer World stuff.
I think so, yeah. Because when I started branching out, it was like...
Yep.
It happened more frequently. It's strange.
Dude, yeah. And I got shit demonetized because you said our podcast. I'm like, well, fuck. Excuse me. Jeez. I
don't care. I don't care if this gets demonetized.
Because I was feeling bad, and then I went and looked, and I had a 4-minute video demonetized where all I did was announce that we were doing E3 content. Mm-hmm. And there was no cuss. There was nothing. And it's ridiculous, man. You cannot tell what's going to be demonetized now.
Yeah,
or even what's worrisome.
It was I think 2 years ago, whenever Tales of Berseria came out, and the initial round of demonetizations were going around, and
that was bad, yeah.
I had was it Resident Evil got hit really hard, and then after that they started hitting everything. So even anime games that were fine were getting hit, and it took a solid 6 months of counterclaiming and actually
to get out from under it.
It's convoluted, but there is a chat option to speak to someone at YouTube, and I had to keep going through that, and after 6 months finally. Unless I include copyright music, I can fly clear.
Yeah, it was actually kind of crazy. I went to counter the podcast last week. I'm like, the podcast, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, makes $0. But I was like, fuck it, I don't like that yellow little symbol next to my shit because it's just annoying. And I went to counter it, and it was within an hour, someone said confirmed by manual review. I'm like, bullshit. That was
what was the claim?
2.5 hour podcast, and someone within an hour had a manual review. I'm like, give me a break.
What was the claim? Was it disturbing content? Was it?
Let me look. That's a good idea.
And while he's looking, I want to tell everybody, I don't think I'm Bono. I'm wearing sunglasses because I've been in front of the camera. This is the 8th hour. I apologize to anybody. I don't think I'm cool. Just my eyes.
You are cool, though. So, wait. Well, you can click on the video that was demonetized, and it'll tell you there why it was?
It should say a very general... It'll be in red, little baby red italicized, and it'll say, violent content. It'll say, adult.
Just says not suitable for advertisers.
That's the blandest, most generic.
Just not suitable for advertisers. Yeah, that's it. Limited or no ads content identified as not suitable for most advertisers. All right, well, whatever. That's enough of that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the H.A.M Radio Podcast. And now let's get into our first mini segment, continuing from last week, where Karak took a little quiz, and we're going to see how he did.
Quiz great.
So I'm going to just revise the questions, and we're going to give the answers, and we'll react as each one goes along. So, first was true or false. THQ Nordic will have generated the most hype once E3 is over. Karak said true, and I think that is indeed true now that everything's all said and done.
I think so.
Very weak E3 this year. Stuff we already knew about, just getting a little more information. And everything that looked really cool felt like it was in 2020, personally, in my opinion. So I agree. Cowboy, do you agree with this? Do you think THQ Nordic has just generated the most hype after E3 now?
Now, THQ, they were Baldur's Gate 3, right? Are they the ones that are releasing that?
They did SpongeBob, they did Destroy All
SpongeBob's
Humans.
Darksiders, Destroy All Humans. And then they took... the thing with THQ is they didn't have an event. They just released data all fucking week.
Yeah. They did it smart. They did it smart.
They did it smart.
I mean, Square dropped that...
Square did.
That Final Fantasy, and I thought fans everywhere were just going to start just... Oh my God, Square!
It was... That looked good, and we will get to that. But I personally agree with Karak when it comes to like hype. There's like 2 moments during E3 that I think may have got to that level of SpongeBob.
Actually, I will say Animal Crossing. I'm not an Animal Crossing fan, but when Animal Crossing was finally announced for Nintendo, people were going out of their minds.
That's crazy to me because they announced a delay and didn't show much either, which is fine because of their reasoning. I'm just saying, like, the way they did it, I thought fans would be like, okay, like, I'll get excited later, but everyone's like, oh, it's happening.
I mean, it's because of our generation, you know? Mm-hmm. All of us millennials, we can't own houses and pay off mortgages, so we have to...
So you have to do it virtually. That's why I like Sims 4. Hey, one of my favorite games. So.
Number 2, during Microsoft's E3 presser, Phil Spencer will wear A, dress clothes, B, a blazer with a gaming t-shirt, C, nothing, D, an Xbox t-shirt with jeans. You said D, Karak.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be D, but it was just pants and a game shirt. I couldn't even tell what the game shirt was. Wait, what? No, he didn't have a blazer.
He had a jacket over it.
Jacket, not a blazer. Bro, a blazer's a suit. Like that's what I thought you meant.
Yeah, I meant like kind of like one of those semi-suit jackets. Maybe
like
blazer
Jurassic
wasn't the right
Park
term.
number 1.
Sure.
What was the game that he was wearing? Thank you. I could not tell. Oh, of course. Okay. Mm-hmm. I could not tell the design. I did not recognize the design. I didn't know what it was. Okay,
right.
Gotcha.
Right. Number 3, true or false? A new Splinter Cell game will be at E3. You said true. That was false.
I know. And then what's Phil Spencer say on Giant Bomb's couch? Did you see that?
No. What did he say?
Yeah. Well, he basically said there is a Splinter Cell. Like he just.
I mean, yeah, it seems like it's coming.
He's like, oh, all the backwards, and Jeff's like, yeah, it was a little strange. All the backwards compatible Splinter Cells were a big announcement at your event. And he's like, well, I'm not saying anything about the new one. And then it got quiet for a second. It went on.
Oh, I was like,
that one in Fable didn't show up, which blew my mind.
Mm-hmm. Short answer for number 4, give the probability of a Fallout 3 remaster and explain how you came to that percentage. You didn't give me a percentage. You said no. Xbox backwards compatibility. So you'll get half credit on that one.
All right.
Number 5, we're going to skip because that was a joke question. It was just how many people are going to do the E3 drinking games. I saw no one doing it, so I think...
Either did I.
Yeah, so I'm honestly going to say Karak said answer A, 5 people, and I think that actually may have been it.
It was low.
Number 6 was a fill in the blank. You predict that Microsoft would have the best E3 showcase. Do you still believe that?
Yeah, but I don't... Yes.
Okay.
But I don't believe it's for the reasons that I was hoping for.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
No,
I think the Keanu thing blew things out of proportion because I had been informed that there was a big thing occurring.
Right.
But I did not. I guess I was putting it together with Fable 4 and everything. So the wording on that, I would say no on that, even though to me, and just like he's on BBC talking about video games, so that was a big deal, but not for a game, not like Fable 4 being announced.
Number 7 was true or false. Fable 4 will drop in 2019. You said false, and it seems you were unfortunately correct.
Yeah.
In a mind-blowing change of pace, there is no Fable 4 at Microsoft's E3. Short answer, will we see Microsoft's new console? If so, how much of it? If not, why is that? You said we will not see it, which was correct. Once again, Karak is on point. We did not see the console. We heard specs. We heard it's a monster, or it eats monsters. That's what it was.
4 times. Yeah, I do like the joke about eating monsters because I don't know. That's like an inside joke. But yeah, there was nothing other than 4 times as powerful, which means nothing.
Yeah. because we didn't see anything, and we saw a Halo trailer that was all cinematic, so I didn't think it was a great follow-up. True or false, we will see at least 5 games supporting full-on crossplay across all systems announced at E3. You said true, and I didn't quantify new games announced, but I believe we saw that during Microsoft's conference. A lot of crossplay was happening, so that was indeed correct as well. 10, fill in the blank, VR will escalate after E3 2019. Now, I did not watch the VR showcase, but I heard it was a lot of what we saw this year, which was cinematic trailers, which was kind of strange for VR. So do you feel like it's escalating? I didn't see much VR noise.
I only saw stuff, and today when they announced 3 new games that were like full games, but I would say no, because they didn't do WMR is going to work on the Scarlet either.
Right.
Which
right.
I didn't know if they would, but like it's time for them to just blurt it out. But
Gotcha.
So I would say no, I would say that one was wrong, just overall.
Fill in the blank, Microsoft will have the longest conference. And you were correct. You were indeed correct. True or false? Google, the world is ready for Google Stadia. You said false. And after this week, I think that is the case. No one really talked about it at all after their little announcement of the Founders Pack. That was it. Just in and out. Gone like the wind. 13, how many times will Xbox emphasize it is the best place for gamers? You said C, 7 to 10 times.
Dude, I think they didn't do it.
They didn't.
0 times.
I didn't hear it once.
I did not either. Yeah, it's crazy.
I wasn't even distinctly listening to it. Just all I noticed, because I look for 2 things from Phil Spencer. Best place for gamers, and the right hand in the pocket as he gestures with his left hand. I get a kick out of both of those 2 things.
I don't even know if either one of those really happened. Well, I didn't watch him to see the hand thing, but yeah.
14, which major conference will have the most awkward silences? A, Microsoft, B, Bethesda, C, Square Enix, D, Ubisoft. You said C, Square Enix. I think I'm going to mark that wrong, because I think Ubisoft had some pretty bad shit.
Yeah, Bethesda did too. All of them did. But yeah, I would say that was wrong.
Well, to be fair, Square did have the B Squad Avengers.
Oh my God.
That was pretty bad.
We're gonna have to cover that, and downright lied prior to that event. By the way,
I gotta hear about that because I don't know what you're talking about.
We're gonna talk about it.
Okay.
Dude. I was legit pissed during that event. Well, and after when they answered some questions.
Number 15, true or false? Ubisoft will open E3 2019 conference with a semi-cringe Just Dance announcement. You said true, and it didn't happen. There was a Just Dance announcement, but they did it in the fucking middle. Why?
I don't know, man, but I'm glad to be wrong, because that was fucking really hilarious. I mean, we got through it. There's no starting dance. This is crazy. And then right in the middle of it, they do the dance. I was just like, all right, man, I guess. Right?
Like, at least one's a tone setter. Like, let's have some fun. Oh, by the way, Just Dance is coming. And then we find out it's coming to the Wii, which I thought was pretty crazy, because apparently, like, hospitals still use Wiis for something. And
therapy offices do as well.
Yeah. So it was kind of neat to see them do that. Number 16, which E3 show will have the most technical difficulties? A, EA Play, B, YouTube Gaming, C, Microsoft, D, Bethesda, E, Square Enix, F, Ubisoft, G, PC Gaming Show. I did not write down your answer for this. I think it actually is G, because I put that in all caps, and I didn't have that originally.
I think we added it. Yeah, I think we added it. And I don't even think that's right. I don't think any of them...
I don't think there were any tech difficulties at all.
No, it was very nice. There was no
clean.
Sony moment of somebody playing a cello and some dude yelling at him.
Yeah. There was like a fake thing going around that Todd Howard like cursed someone out during the ESO trailer.
Fake, though.
Yeah, and I fell for it initially. I was like, "What the fuck?"
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I didn't know the source material, and then my audience corrected me. I was like, "Oh, okay, thank God," because that would have been fucking insane. Because if he's like fucking walking out, I was like, "Damn." Todd showing his true colors behind the scenes.
Yeah, right.
That would have been so bad.
Kicking kids off the fucking stage and stuff.
17, which games journalism site is most likely to post a stupid hot take mid-E3 that's designed to be a fun killer? I already know the answer to this. A, Polygon, B, IGN, C, GameSpot, D, Game Informer, E, Kotaku. You said A, Polygon, but I did see IGN post a very interesting video about how Cyberpunk wasn't looking that good because it was all the same.
Yeah, but Polygon posted one in prior to IGN. Well, okay, they all did.
Yeah,
I
I
have
didn't
no
see anything
problem
from
getting a
GameSpot. And Game
Kotaku
Informer,
did
you and I
one.
were just like yakking it up about how
We were.
they like must have done something to get all this coverage.
Game Informer's throwing that cash, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're getting that coverage when you look at like what they get on views and stuff.
It's insane. Insane. Nearing the end here. True or false, Halo Infinite will be open world? We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. Too bad.
Seemingly, because the ship was like being brought back to life, and they were kind of showing just all of space, and so it seemed like you're gonna go places. I did not get the answer for this. How many games drop, quote, right now, quote, A, 1 to 3, B, 4 to 7, C, 8 to 10, D, 11 to 15, E, none of the above. I think it sits in the 4 to 7 range between Nintendo and Square Enix. They combined for a lot. You said A, though, which is incorrect.
Which was that? What did I say? I said A, which was what?
1 to 3.
Oh, I went low.
Yeah, you went low. Actually, even Todd Howard said like Fallout Shelter's available on Tesla now, so stuff like that happened.
I don't know why I find that so funny.
Unreal.
Tesla's getting more games than Stadia is, but whatever.
All right. 20, fill in the blank. Would you give this quiz? Oh, wait. Nope. Sorry, scratch that. That was a joke. 21, true or false? THQ Nordic will announce a Simpsons Hit and Run remake at E3. You said true, and it did not happen.
False.
Derek, you didn't do too
and
bad.
Simpsons. Yeah, it's 50-50.
Yeah, you did solid. You did solid for some off-the-cuff, unprepared predictions. But now, with all of that out of the way, let's get into the talks with EA. So, Cowboy, you sat there nice and quiet for a while. It's your turn to chat. What did you like? What did you not like about EA Play, where they decided to back down from the conference and do scheduled shows showing off different games?
I mean, EA's kind of been doing this I know they did it last year too, I think.
They did, yeah.
They still had the conference last year, right?
I mean, on the good side, the new Star Wars game actually looks pretty. It looks like EA basically gave it to somebody and said, "We're not going to touch this, and we're going to lock ourselves in a closet for now," and that's good to see. But on the flip side, did anybody hear anything about Anthem? Or was it just like shot? Like
They said they weren't going to talk about it.
They brought the guy out in the most depressing announcement ever. He came out for 3 minutes right after Star Wars, and they said, "Is Anthem dead?" The producer said, "No, Anthem is not dead. We're taking your suggestions." And that was it. It was 3 minutes. It was just two dudes sitting on a couch. Yeah, it was. I think IGN said Anthem is continuing to go forward in the most depressing announcement ever of E3.
God.
And it was, because the guy said, "Is it dead?" And the dude's like, "No, it's not." He's just like, damn, how the mighty have fallen.
Aside from that, they had the Battlefield announcement, which, I mean, it's all right. The new Apex season, but I know a lot of people were already upset about the first season being kind of lackluster.
Just not
I mean,
enough.
all in all, I think I'd say
content.
Star Wars is probably the only thing that kept them afloat. Aside from that, it's the standard E3 fare. You got The Sims, you got FIFA, you got Madden.
Yeah, I'd like to see them go forward with this framework because Bethesda highlighted, and we'll get to them later, but they highlighted a conference that didn't have enough, and I would like to see them do what EA did this year and just do a split-up show so people could just tune into what they're interested in. Because, for example, like Commander Keen showing up, people would be like, "What the fuck is this?" Like, just have a mobile game section. I thought EA did the right thing because I tuned in for Star Wars. I was happy with what I saw, and I left. In the terms of Star Wars, though, it looked a little easy, and I don't think they showcased like wow moments that they could have, like what we saw in Microsoft's trailer, where we see, I think his name's Cal Kestis, like climbing the AT-AT in the rain. Like that was an awesome shot. Stuff like that should have been shown off, in my opinion. And that's what you're starting to see in E3 now. I think I'm basing all this off CD Projekt Red's reasoning for showing gameplay behind closed doors is because they want to make their assets last with what they're bringing for marketing so they can focus more on making the game. So, for example, CD Projekt Red's like, we're going to keep the gameplay behind closed doors at E3. We're going to show it to everyone in August after Gamescom. Otherwise, the Gamescom gameplay is useless. And I think that's why you're seeing, for example, EA have some type of gameplay at EA Play and then a trailer at Microsoft, and that's how marketing is going to work from now on. It seems to just scatter more than and try to bring people into different shows rather than everything being so self-contained. But overall, what I saw in the game, I liked it. Would you agree, Cowboy, that it kind of reminded you of in style. The way you approach combat and you had to be thoughtful with it. Was it kind of Souls-like? You know, without the difficulty?
No.
You wouldn't say so?
I wouldn't say. I'd say not at all. I mean, hell, I'd say it's closer to God, what was the
Force Unleashed is what it reminded me of.
Force Unleashed.
Uncharted
See,
and
I
Force
thought Force Unleashed was
a
a lot more arcadey. So I never equated it to that. I thought,
I mean,
like,
between like slowing time and reflecting the bullets and moving people in front of things to hit, like it was that level of power. You don't ever experience those in a Souls-like. You know, you're never.
That's true.
You never reach like the omniscience that a Jedi or a Sith would have. And
yeah, I meant more so I should have specified, because yeah, they do give you those powers outside, but when it's like the one-on-one duel with the guy with like the twin blade or whatever it was, that's where I got that feeling, because it wasn't like you could just run in and slash your way through. Granted, the demo looked insanely easy, but it just felt like to me they needed to bump up the difficulty, and I think that's what led me to that conclusion, because it looks like a game that'd be fun with a real challenge.
Oh, for sure, but well, I mean, there's been a lot of talks about that. If they were going for a Souls-like, if they were going to have a something closer to like For Honor, where it's like a pivot type fighting system, and I mean, again, it looks like it'll be fun, but like you said, I don't think your lightsaber play is going to be the most in-depth portion of that game. It looks like they're going to have a bigger focus around powers and exploring your Jedi tree, what have you, and leveling up different stuff. So kind of how Karak said, I think it's going to go more along the lines of something like Force Unleashed.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you saw similar things from Force Unleashed, because remember in that game, like on the second level, you could use your force powers and start blowing open doors on the spaceship. And you saw like in the demo with this game, he was using the force to like blow down, I think, was it a tree or was it like a bridge? But he was starting to use that to get around, and obviously we saw the patented respawn wall running. So there's going to be a lot of traversal, and like Karak said, very, very reminiscent, especially when he was climbing vertically, of Uncharted. Like identical animation and style. Kind of crazy. Were you excited about it, Karak, with what you saw, or were you just like, eh? I was Like when I walked away, like I liked it, but I was like, I'm sure this is the type of game I need to play.
Listen, they're in deep shit right now with Star Wars, and this is a safe game, and that's okay. Like they do not have a good base right now for Star Wars games. So I think that they probably told Respawn, let's make a good, safe game, and it's gonna be honest, guys, that's acceptable to me. It may not be the best game in the world, and I certainly it was about 7%. I was trying to do a life bar check when he got hit. It's about 7%, so that is for sure on easy. He was for sure playing on easy.
Felt like
when he was getting hit. Yeah, it was a very low percentage, which also might indicate AI changes. They may attack differently. I don't know, but it's a safe game. It's Respawn, so you got the Respawn wall running. Even Jeff Keighley joked about that and said, like, it's a Respawn game. The moment they were doing the right, yeah. But I think as a safe game to get Star Wars back on some kind of footing so that they can sell it to EA again, the next one, the big one, because remember, all the big ones have been the ones that are canceled. I think this is what they needed to do, regardless of what I personally wanted from a business standpoint and getting Star Wars back on any kind of track, because it's not on any good track at all. And I'm okay with that. Even though it hurts me personally, I'd love to see the big open world, like gritty fucking... let them do it. I'm a big fan of Cameron, the actor. I do find that whenever you put survival in your game, it better have a reason to be there. Whenever you put a big actor in a game, he better have a reason to be there. We'll talk about Cyberpunk. There's a reason. I did not see a reason for Cameron to be in there yet. He's a good actor.
Like
Forrest Whitaker was in there. Forrest Whitaker was there, who's a stellar actor from Solo, and he was also, he's just a good actor from multiple
Was
things.
he in Rogue One?
Rogue One, I apologize.
Sorry, I was trying to remember.
No, thanks.
Because I haven't seen Solo, but I thought I saw him in Rogue One. That's why I asked.
Yeah, and I would like to see it. Whenever I see somebody say this game has blah, I want to see why it's got, like, I want to go, well, why does it have that? I haven't seen that, and I'm a huge fan of Cameron. I think he's one of the best young actors I've ever seen in Gotham. Right. He's Joker. He's in Shameless. I didn't see that, but then Sims 4 was a disaster. As a big Sims fan who loves to murder people consistently in my games, I was really disappointed that it was basically a PC culture type of title. It was like go around, collect dirt or collect pollution in a paradise setting. Everything else from EA really was pretty lackluster for me. I was actually quite surprised how lackluster it was.
Really?
I thought they would. I did think they would show something else, at least one thing. And I think when we left that was one of the ones where it was hard to talk about it because nothing.
I just feel like
nothing really grabbed me.
EA Play sort of has turned into its own thing aside from E3. Like it's during E3 rather than a part of E3, and it's about getting people in that area in to play these games early, and it becomes kind of a fan fest with some additional coverage and reveals, but not like the surprise announcements. They did have that little EA indie trailer indicating some of the future there, and that was nice. I like that. I'm glad they're keeping that aspect alive because it's probably one of the best parts of EA. With the most exciting potential in future. With Star Wars, it could be hit or miss, as we've learned, where you could have one hollow, two good surface stuff, but buried in microtransactions. Now fixed, much better game, tons of content, and they're adding droidicas in. So that game is progressing along fine now, and we'll see if they can build on that foundation with Jedi Fallen Order. It's funny you say about the actor's necessity, because that's, I guess, a way I've always believed with these real actors. I've usually just been like, whatever, it's just for marketing. When they brought in Kevin Spacey, and I think it was Infinite Warfare, I'm just like, it's just a cameo. It's just
it was the one prior to that.
Was it?
Infinite Warfare had
Kit Harington?
Kit Harington, yeah.
That's who it was, right? Sorry.
Game of Thrones. No, it's all right.
I always view that stuff as kind of okay, let's just get some bonus sales. Let's bring in these popular current TV names and nothing more. But when you start hearing Keanu Reeves having like the second most lines in Cyberpunk.
Yeah, right.
Like that's where you go, oh, okay, this is and like you see him candidly like excited about what game he's making or as a part of rather. I think that is where you go, okay, like that's not just a casting. Obviously Keanu Reeves seems awesome, like great pick, but there's
it's not
more to
just
it.
John Wick is popular. Let's bring it in.
Yeah, exactly. There's more to it.
Also, so that you guys know how safe Star Wars is, there's no dismemberment.
Really weird choice, man. Wow. When you're like gutting these people,
it's Disney Star Wars. I said, I think it's all safe.
It just seems set for that.
Yeah. Of plasma source, right? Mm-hmm. Like if there's anything that's going to chop your body in half, it's going to be a fucking lightsaber. But they said at least as of right now, that's not in there.
That's the one thing Jedi Academy got right. The way you would just chop off legs and cut people in half, and there was no blood. It was just, like when you cut through them, you'd see their whole inside just crisp.
You were cauterizing the wound, I guess.
Yeah, really.
with your lightsaber.
Seriously, you were. It's just, man. Because what's weird is I don't care if they don't have that, but when the way he's like stabbing through and he's like ripping afterwards, it's like you can tell Respawn's making the animations for rip and tear almost, and Disney's like, no, he's staying in pieces there.
Well, to give you an example, they said dismemberment is in for all non-humans. That's how safe it is. So robots will have it, bugs, animals.
That's weird. That's going to just shine a bigger light on it. I get why.
It will, but it fits the safety first kind of gameplay this title is going to show, unfortunately.
Yeah, it makes sense. I get why. Anything else from EA Play? Oopsies. Nothing?
I don't think so.
Really small serving on that one, so I didn't think it would be too long. All right, so that brings us to the meteor one. Microsoft, as Karak predicted so boldly, the longest one in all of E3. Well, boys, where do we begin? What did you like from Microsoft?
I mean, honestly, this is going to be a little weird, but this was actually my favorite announcement. Tales of Arise.
Looks great. Looks great.
Shit.
That game looked really, really good.
And that's without Hideo Baba, right? Like he left for Square Enix for something, and I think that studio got shut down. So whole new vision on that one.
Yeah, and the changes to the combat, like it looked like you had real time dodging and rolling, and but you still had a little bit of what makes Tales, and I mean, at least based on it, looks like we're downing the party size too, because like almost every single scene you had the protagonist, you had like the princess or whoever she is, and then there were a couple cameos that showed up.
2 or 3 maybe.
Like a much smaller party, and I think because of that, it looks like they're putting a bigger focus on the depth of the combat, and I'm all about that. I love the Tales games. I think they're a ton of fun. So that was my number one, because I didn't see that coming.
No, you didn't see the leak before that of the screenshots?
I avoided every leak possible.
Oh, nice. Nice. Good for you.
I was just like, nope.
Good
Successful.
for you. Yeah, so then that was definitely a really awesome surprise because that happened the night before. So I saw the screenshots. They didn't have the trailer leak, but I saw the screenshots, and right then and there, I was like, "How is that a Tales game?" It looked great. Not that Berseria looked bad or anything, or even Zestiria, which is one I didn't like, but not that those were bad looking games. Just it felt new, it felt fresh. And as for the combat, you talked about shrinking down the party for the sake of combat depth, but I think that can also lead to some deeper characters too. In turn, just because there's more focus on a smaller party, if that ends up being the case.
And of course, we had the new From Software announcement that everyone's drooling over, Elden Ring, which it looks cool, but like unless you go into the interviews, you don't really know much about it.
That's why I said I can't wait. Yeah, the interview you tweeted looked. Oh man, when I saw that, I was like, oh please.
Yeah,
give
I was
me
going
that.
through. I mean, they're talking about essentially a full-blown open world action RPG, but with Souls-like influence and combat and boss encounters. And when I say open world, they were saying like, you mount and outfit a horse and ride it around and stuff. And I'm like, okay, this is like, what Dragon Age could have been almost. So
Yeah, good way.
I mean, I'm waiting for more info. Thankfully, Bandai is they're very very content creator friendly studio. So I'm sure that when there's gameplay available, we'll be able to get a hold of it pretty quick. So I'm all aboard for that one.
Yeah, I mean, you're the guy, bro. you're the Soulsborne guy.
Let's see what else. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot looked pretty cool.
Fuck yeah, it did. All right, God, I bugged during that. Have you seen the gameplay that came out afterwards?
I saw a little bit of it, but not too much.
Very reminiscent of Xenoverse. It looks a little more strategic, I guess you could say. Like for example, when they're doing like energy volleys, there's a little more dodging involved, and I liked how you could fish with Goku's tail. I thought that was pretty gnarly. They said that it's not like open world, but there's like set open levels, and that so far it's confirmed it goes through the Boo saga. But there's speculation that it can go to Battle of Gods, which I'd like to see personally. I love Dragon Ball Z. It's like I told you, it's like my favorite thing. But even as someone who loves it, I would have loved to see like Dragon Ball Super focused, like open, same type of game, but Dragon Ball Super instead. Even though Z's story is classic, it's like how many times are we going to tell this? That's why like the open world elements and some of the combat is a little more interesting. Like seeing Ader just giving you a side quest is really, really crazy. It's like, okay, we're going to have that type of stuff.
I feel like they almost have to, just because of the power creep in Dragon Ball. It's like if we started a game at Super,
he's already really strong.
Yeah, he's already really strong. Like we only level up so much. Whereas if you're starting as basic Kakarot and going all the way up past the Boo saga, we have all the different levels of Super Saiyan that are coming. We have all those. I mean, obviously they have all the memorable fights and whatnot, but I think it's just made for them to tell a better story.
No, you're right. I didn't even think of it that way because if you start off from there, I mean, you could start off from Battle of Gods and maybe you could build a little something, but it's definitely more suited for a gameplay wise to do C instead. Yeah. One announcement that we didn't get much on, it was actually an indie game, was RPG Time Legend of Right. The one that was like on newspapers. It was clearly hand drawn. It was literally like a pen and paper RPG, but they took it like so literally, and it was so stylish. I loved what I saw of that game. Sadly, coming out in 2020, but it was one of those like quick flyby trailers that really grabbed my attention. I've kind of thought about it a lot since they aired that during the conference, and I don't know a thing about it. I don't know how like traditional of an RPG it is, but it just looks excellent. I cannot wait to get my hands on that one.
Yeah. I mean, on that note, Phantasy Star Online 2, did anyone see that one coming?
No, but I can tell you that was one of the ones where I was like, yeah! I'm just a Phantasy Star Online freak.
Yeah, that was awesome. That game, I know people that like, they still swear by that game.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a big one.
Yeah, I played Phantasy Star, the one on the 360 that was available. I don't know if that was online or something like that, but the first one, I played some type of Phantasy Star game that was an MMO, and I loved it. I just thought like it was so much fun. But Phantasy Star Online 2, what is special about it? Because all I remember is the first one as like that kind of bridge MMO that I eventually found RuneScape and then dropped that title.
That is what Phantasy Star Online is an action MMO. and it just has a really good setup, really good leveling, really good classes and care. And remember, I'm a Phantasy Star RPG fan. Like, that's my favorite RPG when I was a kid. But they did a good job with turning it into an MMO with.
Okay, so it was something first. Okay,
it was Phantasy Star 1 through 3, and then 4. Sorry, and then Phantasy Star Online, and then Phantasy Star Online 2. And
okay,
I didn't expect it. I not only did I not expect it, I knew Phil Spencer had gone to Sega multiple times. I'm going to be honest, I was hoping for Virtua Fighter, but I get why it was this. It was huge because there are legitimate still people like playing on hacked servers and shit. Like, it is insane. It's like RuneScape. It just sticks around forever. And it's just got really insanely good combat that I would say people who like the Dragon Ball style stuff, those kind of action, they don't get in a lot of MMOs, or if they do, there's the microtransaction style leveling up. So, you can sort of feel it's been made today. If this game feels like it is a recreation of the old one, then I think a lot of people are going to have a lot of time burnt, because it just has really fun fucking combat and grouping, and it's a unique world. I certainly wasn't expecting it from Sega. I wasn't expecting it at all. Like, that was easily the biggest surprise probably from that conference, to see them.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of people really got fired up about it. They were pretty excited that it was happening. I guess, when was this initially announced? I saw like a screenshot. I think it was 2012 or 13. And then
I don't know.
Now it's coming to the West now, so it's pretty big deal.
Oh, you mean, I'm sorry, you mean when was it originally out? Yeah, it would have been 2012, 2013.
Interesting.
Probably.
I've always wondered why, with gaming becoming so big and localization becoming more and more of a thing, why it takes so long to get these Japanese exclusive games over here. It's one of the motivations of why I started studying Japanese originally, but like I just wonder why it ends up taking. I know it's a process; it's not easy for accurate translation, especially in something as big as an MMO. But you got to wonder what the hold up, what the hitch is sometimes. It's quite strange.
My only guess would be them debating if they have the market for it out here in the West.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, look at how long. I mean, Monster Hunter. While World did sell incredibly well for Capcom, I mean, up until that, it was basically unknown out here in the West. Whereas in Japan, it's like, it's a national tradition. Like, everyone knows what Monster Hunter is. They have Monster Hunter cafes, they have Monster Hunter theme parks, Monster Hunter museums. But over here, it's like, oh yeah, you play that game. Oh, that's cool. I guess.
It doesn't go beyond the game, so I get that. I can understand that. I guess I just feel like that's like if you have that expectation that it's going to get that big here in the West, then that's probably foolish to just ditch it solely based on that. If that were their reasoning,
yeah,
I feel like it would make more sense.
Well, we could also look at Sega as a
game?
publisher. Sega as a publisher's been they're just now getting their feet back under them for PC publishing. They've been doing really well, but they've been having issues.
Yakuza, right?
Yeah, and they have Yakuza, they have Warhammer. In fact, they're sort of a strategy-heavy company right now. But remember, Sega built itself on AM2, virtual racing, like all that kind of stuff. That's sort of what they were known for. And I just have a feeling with Sega, they're not fiscally always best. Like, they've had issues multiple times where they've been in deep shit financially. So I think this was most likely Microsoft probably, like trying to help them with some stuff, because I don't think it'll be exclusive to Xbox or anything, at least in the long run. But I would assume it was probably Phil Spencer going over there and talking to them and trying to figure it out, because the rumor originally was the reason why I was visiting was to buy Sega, because they have more than enough money to buy Sega. But I think
wow, that would be insane.
Yeah, it would, but I think overall this makes more sense. Just help them get the titles that they think might do well here. And right now, that kind of title, I think, is exactly what like a lot of people in the West want.
And they also said that it's coming to PC and PS4.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not. Yeah, I didn't see that, but I was assuming there's no way it was just going to be just for them.
No,
it might be exclusive or something for a while, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think that indicates probably because now it's starting to come out that Microsoft had considered putting Master Chief Collection on PS4.
Yeah.
And when you hear immediately after so many Xbox related announcements, it's coming to PS4 and PC later. Like, it happens quite frequently. Where I just feel like it's a matter of years before we see Game Pass on PS4. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I really think that's like a future in 3-5 years, in that range. Like, it happens. Because Microsoft's just definitely heading that service route. When they increased the Xbox Game Pass Game Pass Ultimate. Imagine like Game Pass Supreme, and it works on the PS4 as well. Like, you know, that's something that I don't think is out of the realm of possibility. It sounds crazy, I admit, but I think it's totally feasible. What other games do we have that came out from that conference? Started off with the Outer Worlds. I thought that was smart. A lot of people thought it was weird because it wasn't exclusive. I thought it was smart because Outer Worlds looks awesome, and it's available day one on Game Pass. Yeah, fucking awesome, bro.
Do we want to talk about the Cyberpunk with Keanu?
Yes.
I mean, I feel like it's already been kind of talked to death.
Yeah, that's why I was like, Outer Worlds? But yeah, no, we'll get into that. So, how surprising was it, fellas? I didn't see it coming.
Keanu Reeves is already like just loved on the internet. Like, I don't know if you guys use like Reddit at all, but he's like everyone's
having a renaissance. Yeah.
Oh my God, Keanu senpai, have my babies.
Do you see how loud that lady was screaming?
Yeah, I know, it was nuts.
Holy smokes.
So, but I think the more interesting thing is, you know, we're used to seeing like celebrities present stuff, but finding out he's, you know, actually in the game as like a voiced character you're going to see on a regular basis. I thought that was really cool because, I mean, besides that, the only we don't really see a very heavy cohesion between actors and gaming. And you got what is his name, Daryl Reedus with Kojima working on like Death Stranded, so we see it there. And I think we're maybe we're starting to see a shift towards that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, especially with how much attention he's garnering from it, I'm sure other actors and actresses are like, hey, yeah, I want that too, right? You know, I think you're going to see an influx based off that moment there. What's crazy to me is because, like I said earlier, they confirmed, you know, Keanu Reeves is the second most lines in their game, which A, isn't cheap, but I think to myself on how they kept that a secret and revealed the game without that, re-revealed rather, that game without that last year, and then brought him on board. Maybe he was already on board before then, had him do all his dialogue, and they did a second thing here when we're closer to the game unveiling that. I thought that was smart in general, because that could have just created hype initially, but instead they built hype based off the game solely, and then added the awesome actor who was passionate about the product afterwards on top of all that. I think that really helped sustain the level of excitement that people have for this game. And it was a really smart move by CD Projekt Red. But all in all, a really good conference from Microsoft.
Let me talk about the big Can I tell you about the big surprise to me?
By all means.
Fable 4 was supposed to be shown. Phil basically said that during the two events. Remember, Microsoft had the E3, then they had the hour-long event I was live chatting in your Discord about, Matty.
Yeah, we were all
where they were
talking
just
about that.
dropping huge news, and then the Jeff Gerstmann thing. Flight Simulator. So Microsoft had stated that the reason why they chose that was because Game Pass was on PC. They wanted to make a pop with PC owners, and I would say 50% PC owners in my Discord, if not more. They just happen to gravitate towards that for whatever reason. And they were just shitting like that. Imagine Phantasy Star in your group, or what you guys said, the other game, the Tales game, in one of your Discords. Like that kind of pop. Like there were people that were just shitting themselves. They're like, "Oh my God, that is amazing!" And it's been a long time. It's been that the last release from them was years ago. And that was also a surprise. No one knew that was coming. And I think that was actually smart of Microsoft. It may have disappointed some people who wanted to see Fable 4, but they can show that at their 18 events that we have coming up this year.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with them choosing to go with that and showing some gameplay of it. And then also saying it's all compatible with all the consoles, which was cool. Because I know a lot of people won't have the money for a PC that runs that, you know, at a high resolution. But that to me was a huge surprise. Was not expecting to see.
Does that have VR compatibility? Because that looked like the perfect game for it.
It is, but again, once they announce on PC, yes. On consoles, Scarlet and stuff like that, we don't know yet. But on PCs, yeah, you can bet they'll do VR.
So speaking of Scarlet, let's talk about that. What did you gents feel about or rather, how did you gents feel about the way Microsoft unveiled Xbox Scarlet, is what it's called now, what it can do, and then its follow-up of Halo and a new trailer for that. You know, no gameplay, no actual hardware reveal in the terms of like an actual box, just a talk fest, so to speak. What did you guys feel about that?
I mean, you go first.
Oh, sorry. I would say personally, I think it was smart since we know it's releasing after next E3.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really expect them to show anything until Sony shows. They're both, and Phil said this, and Jeff asked. Jeff Gerstmann said why, and Phil said it's a game, and Jeff said it seems like you guys are both playing a game of poker, and he's like, it's absolutely that. And so they wait, and he even talked about him rewriting the script for the entire announcement the night before, on what they knew about the PS4 or PS5. And some of the games they wanted to show. It makes sense to me. They're just going to say some generic stuff. Remember, AMD just solidified the chip that both of those guys are using. So now they go and they decide what adjustments they want. And so you do have to wait for AMD too, because they are the actual people who manufacture the chip. I think it was pretty intelligent. They announced some stuff later, which surprised me, not in the event, like backwards compatibility for everything. And forwards compatibility for everything, so you won't have to buy a new steering wheel, which may sound stupid to somebody, but go spend $300 on a steering wheel and come back and tell me that that's not an amazing deal as somebody who's had to buy those. I think it was smart. It wasn't the best announcement for us covering it, but I don't know if I would show my hand when you can still change stuff. I mean, and you can. They still have the ability to change stuff up until their fab taping, which is probably only going to be 6 months prior to the release. So I was okay with it. I would have loved for them to be like, it does exactly this, but I didn't expect it.
What about you, Cowboy?
That's basically identical. What I was going to say is I want, anytime I see something, whether it's a new hardware reveal or a new game, I want specifics. If it's a game, I want to see actual gameplay, not cinematics. If it's a new piece of hardware, I want to see it in use. But I can understand why they didn't, because like you said with the Phil interview, they are, they don't want to show all their cards when PlayStation hasn't shown theirs, and so we have this, it's a poker game. It's literally a poker game, and meanwhile you just got Nintendo off in the corner happily being like, we got these cool things coming out, so it's
nothing
weird.
About a new Switch, right?
It's weird because it does feel like it's just an Xbox PlayStation thing now. Like PC doesn't care, Nintendo doesn't care, and it's like, eventually we're going to see this stuff, but I want to know, if I have to drop $600 on a new freaking console, I want to know what this thing is going to be capable of, and I want to know now because, based on what they're talking about, I'm like, this is some the stats that we have heard are crazy to an extent. Like the 8K capability, no one even uses 8K at this point. The 8K TVs are going for what, $5,000 a piece?
Yeah, something.
That's I get it. You're future proofing, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. I want to see how you're fitting all of what you're suggesting into a $600 package. And the bigger thing is every single time we see a new console come out, it's always like, this is it. Load screens are a thing of the past. You're going to have, higher FPS than ever before. And then you get 2-3 years in the console generation, and it's like, the cycle just resets.
Yeah, because they just start squeezing the life out of the console, and so
and it's like there's only so much of it you can
sacrifices have to be made. Yeah,
I never bothered to upgrade. I still have the regular Xbox One when they did the whole Pro Edition and all that. I'm like, no, I don't.
I have the regular PS4. I got sent a Slim from Microsoft for when they were doing Gears of War review copies. They were like, we got swag. I was like, okay.
Oh, I think we might have the same thing. Is it the red one? Okay, yeah, that's still what I have, and it's nowadays for me at least, it's a glorified machine that I play Rock Band on when I'm drunk. But especially, I guess my big, and this isn't necessarily a qualm with Xbox because I really appreciate this, but with them taking a bigger approach towards the play anywhere aspect of you can play it on your Windows PC or you can play it on Xbox. I like that, but it gives me no reason to buy into Project Scarlet. Because unless they make things that are like, this is exclusive to Scarlet, fuck that. I got an RTX 2080 Ti. Why am I gonna buy a $600 console when I can play it on my computer?
That's exactly what I was thinking, because especially when we learned afterwards that Halo Infinite is going to be on the Xbox One, like the original, PC, and Scarlet, it makes me go, why am I going to upgrade if your quote launch title is not going to be exclusive to the Scarlet? Why do I want that at all? Like, what are they going to add? Obviously, it'll look better. It'll run better. Like they said in the promotion, less load times. But does that justify me throwing $600 at it? For me, as a content creator, I might just bite the bullet and go, fuck it, I'm gonna get it just because I want to be on the cutting edge of this type of stuff because I care about the industry. But as a consumer, I'd be like, I'm not remotely convinced at all. And I don't think Microsoft was out there trying to convince us, but I would be naive to say they're not trying to excite us by any means. And they definitely were trying to build up some anticipation. I think expectations were there, and it would have been foolish to not show anything. But on the other hand, with what they did show, I kind of was like, I could have gone without that. I would have rather them just blow the lid off the thing, go Halo Infinite, Fable 4, and like all these other studios we've acquired. Here's what they're working on the Xbox Scarlet. It was an off year for E3 as a whole. You kind of saw a lot of reaching. That's why most of Microsoft's games shown off were 2020 titles, because we know pretty much everything about 2019 now, aside from some cool indies and little surprises here and there. It seemed like everyone's just gearing up for next year to be like a fucking explosive year. Think about it. How many games out of all these conferences did we see coming early 2020? It's going to be insanity.
Yeah, 2020 is going to be absolutely bonkers based on what we know.
It's crazy because last time we had this where we were going like 360 to Xbox One and PS3 to 4, there was that like awkward 2014 and 2013 was good, but that awkward like 2014 year where just like I felt personally I was like one of the worst years of gaming. I thought nothing good came out. And that's punctuated by Dragon Age Inquisition winning Game of the Year, by the way. That was like, oh my god, what a crime. But, overall, we're not seeing that happen here where we're ending this cycle and we're entering 2020, and it seems like a lot of good stuff is on the way, which is exciting to me. I think we covered the major stuff. Right?
I just think that, people need to prepare to be disappointed.
I can tell you this, people are going to be disappointed when they see the price tag. That's just going to be more expensive than usual. That's for sure. Based off what they're putting in there?
I think when it comes down to it, people don't realize this isn't a power PC moving to an X64. It's X64 moving to X64. Sony's made clear that everything's backwards compatible. Everything's forward compatible. Both are doing the cell phone style release. What you're seeing is just like the companies upping their hardware, but it's like they're not going to leave anybody behind, which I got to be honest, I'm happy for, because I know a lot of people who don't. The people I work with are poor as fuck. They don't have anything what I have. They scrounge for an Xbox. So to them, an Xbox One S, if it plays Halo, they're going to be happy as clams because they're not going to...
then they should be, and I agree with it. I think it's a pro-consumer move. I just view also if you're trying to push new hardware.
Well, yeah, next E3. I think people forget that, why announce it now if the next E3 can be the big pop? If you announce it now, then you've just lost your big pop, and Sony is not at this E3. So it sucks for us as creators. I would have liked to have been discussing it. But I think a lot of people just... there's 4 basic generations now. Your PC, your Pro consoles, which Scarlet will replace the X. The X is middle ground. Pro. PS4 is middle ground. PS4 Pro. And then your basics are your low. And a lot of people just don't have a lot of money. And they're going to be totally happy with the lower resolution like we've seen on PS4 basic when we get a game and you're reviewing it and it's like your Pro has this resolution. How many times has it been difficult to even fucking identify the 10 different ways a game's... Look at Neo 2. Neo 2's got 4 different display types if you have the Pro.
Yeah.
4 different fucking graphic settings.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, it is cool, but it's also confusing. So I know a lot of people go for whatever the base is. So it's okay, will the game play at let's say 30 FPS at whatever frame rate? Boom, I'm fine with this. And they stick with your PS Basic and your Xbox Basic and go forward from there. It is disappointing because we're accustomed to custom hardware switching, and they're not doing that this time. They never will. Especially with Microsoft getting burned by NVIDIA. I would say 80% of the reason why Microsoft is doing this is because of the licensing stuff that killed the Xbox original. They just don't ever want to do it again. They don't ever want to have to deal with that again. So we're getting... And then Sony's already sort of seen it with the Cell. They're having enough issues just getting a PS4 backwards compatible game, PS3 game working on the PS4 because of the Cell processor. They just want to move forward and be able to offer stuff on multiple amounts. So to me, if we go next year and it's $199 $150 for a PS4 Basic or an Xbox Basic, that's very cool for those people who that's their price range. Right. And those people will be buying Game Pass too for
100%.
$5. and they'll have 300 games day
Especially
one.
now
Like,
it includes gold. Absolutely.
yeah, it's like, and Sony's gonna do. Sony's gonna have a subscription. Ubisoft had a subscription. By the way, dumbest subscription I've ever seen in my life. I can talk about that. Literally the dumbest. I've never seen a worse subscription. we'll talk about it, but yeah, it's going to be a really interesting time because all of us, I think, will be playing on different hardware. Like, we're accustomed to PC and console, but now then it became PC and then console Pro and then console, and now it's going to be probably 3 SKUs of consoles and a PC. And then, of course, you and I, we all know we have different cards in our PCs. I have a 2080 Ti, but that doesn't mean the person next to me doesn't have a 970.
Right.
So it's going to be an interesting couple years for sure as everybody fleshes everything out. And then you have streaming, which confuses it all.
Good point. We'll see how xCloud turns out. Very kind of small showing on that. It was on the show floor. People said it works well. So it's good to know that might be heading in the right direction. Anyway, next afterwards we had Bethesda. Bethesda. What a showcase. All right, so what did you guys like from it? What did you not like?
Go for it. You guys go.
Doom looks awesome.
Doom looks great.
I thought Deathloop looked kind of interesting from that video we saw. And that was about it for me, man.
What about Wolfenstein? Did you not like that?
I mean, I don't know.
Some weird outside decisions and information coming from that game ever since they showed it off, like the microtransactions or whatever.
They said one thing, then cut it, then said it wasn't.
Yeah, the skill trees versus abilities versus perks, and like it's not happening, it's happening. Like really, really weird stuff.
Even just the gameplay of Wolfenstein, I never.
Oh really?
I don't know. Like I think part of it is because I had my first real delve into Wolfenstein was with the more recent one they released, and that was after Doom. And after you go through Doom, which is like this just adrenaline fueled roller coaster that's so much fun. Yeah, and then you go to Wolfenstein and it's I don't know. Maybe I just went into it with the wrong expectations, but it felt a lot more of shoot and get behind cover or shoot and get behind cover than just nonstop go. And so I don't know. Like I enjoyed it enough, but not enough that I would like ever go back and play it or it was memorable to me. So hearing there's more Wolfenstein, I'm kind of just like, if it's a slow month, I'll look into this. But otherwise,
I just can't stand the dialogue in that game. Anything I've heard in that trailer, just everything. I'm like, normally I'm very interested in the Wolfenstein story, but like when it comes to this one, I just want to see how the co-op is and how progression is. Is this game replayable? How different are the play styles thanks to the skill trees or whatever they have, perks, whatever. And the two sisters, like, is there one who plays differently than the other, or is that just, like I said, determined by the progression system? We'll see. But that's something that I've kind of just put my head in the sand on because it just seems like fucking confusing. I'm like, you know what? I'll just, whether I get a review code or I buy it myself, I'll figure it out when I got my hands on it. They showed off some Switch footage for it during the Nintendo Direct, and it did not look pretty. It did not look good, which to be expected. But I thought Wolfenstein 2 didn't look as bad as that by any stretch, and Wolfenstein 2 is, I think, a bigger game, but we'll see. Really, really strange conference though from Bethesda, with the reveal of Commander Keen being this like thing that they spent way too much time on. Opened up with Elder Scrolls Blades on the Switch. Then what I think was the first good step for this show was 76. Now I know I'm a lot more invested, probably I think is the best word, than you two, but I want to hear from someone who's not as deep in the Fallout community. What did you guys think about some of the announcements for 76 being the free trial, Nuclear Winter, and the Wastelanders update this fall, where we got to see dialogue trees, the confirmation of companions, a Fallout 3 system involved being that dialogue rather. They also talked about choice and consequence. So what do you think about 76's future? Because that seemed to be a big focal point. They were talking about feedback, thanking the fans. What was your takeaway?
Go ahead, Cowboy, if you've got something.
I mean, I think it's really hard because I put, when you look at the launch, I would put 76 and Anthem essentially in the same bucket. They tried to deliver on something that was not what people thought it was going to be at all. And I feel like anytime you have something that falls into that game as a service type realm, which I would consider both of them as, I feel like if you don't, it's really hard to climb your way back up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm sure people that are still playing it, like I know you've been posting a lot about the Battle Royale on Twitters, and
Yeah.
I'm sure a couple people are going to go back in and try it out and have fun with it. But I feel like once you flop that initial, your first impression is your most important one.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I might go back to it a couple months from now just to dabble in it.
Okay.
But I feel like it's already, they're putting wood on the holes in a steel ship at this point. They're just trying to
Interesting.
keep it going.
And Karak?
Yeah, I would agree with Cowboy. I'm all for companies fixing stuff. Like if there's a problem with a game, going out there and fixing it, which they absolutely are. So kudos to them for that.
Okay.
But I've said it before. I agree completely with Cowboy that, I mean, statistically, if you just look at the way time moves forward, they can never grab the initial reaction again. Like they're past that, right? Even PR won't focus on whatever they're doing because companies are looking at other new games, so they can never really get back to where they could have been had they released this more feature complete. Just like Sea of Thieves, even though Sea of Thieves is sort of, I don't know, it's an anomaly. But for me, I don't think the combat in that game looked good enough for the BR, which you'll, I'm sure, speak to, and because we talked
we'll
about
talk
this,
about
like, I don't know, dude. Like, you know me, I liked Fallout 4 despite everybody else not liking it. You and I really like Fallout 4. I love
Good
Fallout
game.
4 VR. But Fallout 76 doesn't speak to me. I don't need to know any other way to say it. It's like, you know how
Yeah.
you like a series and then there's that one game that you look at it and you're all, I should like this. But I don't.
Yeah,
There's nothing
makes sense.
and when they showed the narrative, I was like, oh, cool. But instead of saying, oh, cool, I want to jump in, my brain just just thought of other things. I was just like, and thinking of other games. I just don't think I'll ever touch it, to be honest. I just don't think it'll
Yeah,
ever
I get
get
that.
turned on.
I get that because a lot of people ask me like, "Hey, should I get the game now?" And I tell them all the time, I'm like, the battle royale, which we'll talk about separately. I have another point I want to focus on, but like the battle royale is fun and it's what I've been like sinking the most time into. And it's nice that while you play that, you can level up in the separate mode, adventure and survival mode. So you're still making progress there, even if you're deciding to sink all your hours in the BR. But I guess what I ultimately want to focus on with 76 is, in a world where we just learned Anthem, like, yeah, it's not dead, but we have no idea what's going on. It's almost, I feel like, with such a reactionary industry, I feel like a lot of people are just going to turn to 76 as like, okay, this game may have flopped, but they're working towards something, and we're seeing I don't want to say a positive step forward, because one is a mode that, some may like. I've seen a lot of positive feedback on it. I think a lot of people like it, but, I don't want to speak for everybody. But also a future that we don't know if it'll work out or not, but seemingly it's what fans want, right? Like, they wanted the dialogue, they wanted human NPCs, which I had heard that this was originally part of the plan, by the way. I don't know how true that is, but I had heard that this is what they always wanted to do for the game, was, like, establish the world and then bring in the NPCs. I think it was release the game broken, get everything fixed so it could handle NPCs, then put them out when they were well and ready. But yeah, man, I thought the way they did it was smart. I don't think they overstayed their welcome and tried to sell it too much. I thought there was a little bit of cringe on the delivery of like, yeah, we're doing a fucking battle royale. I was like, dude, like no one was asking for this, even though it's fun.
No.
It is fun. No one was asking for this in response to that feedback. But I thought they did it smart. They showed off Wastelanders, so it got me in a good mood where I was like, all right, like this is what I personally want to see as a big Fallout fan. It's one of my favorite franchises of all time, and
Yeah.
I guess what I'm ultimately getting at is I am right there with you guys. Like, I would not tell anybody to go buy this game still, because all I'm enjoying is one mode. There's still two modes,
Right.
adventure and survival,
Right.
that I'm a little more lenient on going into now, because I am enjoying something completely different in the game. And because I don't have to grind that part of the game to get stuff that I want, I can play the fun battle royale, level up, and then go into the base game, augment my stats, and then go do events, because I was a melee build, and that's not really good for anything in this game when it comes to its PvP. So
Yeah.
the only way I could undo that was by leveling up, which involved playing the base game. So for me, it provided a workaround too. But interesting thoughts, gents. I wanted to see how you were standing on 76. Deathloop, I agree with Cowboy. Really interesting concept. What did you guys think of Ghostwire Tokyo?
Oh, I completely forgot about that.
I thought it looked awesome, but it was not, and I don't mind CGI like everybody else. Whatever. Like, it's an announcement. What they showed, like what they talked about, that interested me. Yeah. I was very interested in their idea, I guess you could say.
Yeah. And then the whole internet, combined in creaming their pants over Ikumi as she announced the game.
Yeah, they said the Holy Trinity, her, the Ubisoft guy that brought the dog, and Keanu Reeves.
Creeps me the fuck out. Creepiest part of the internet.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I agree.
Stalker.
Just let things be pure, guys. Goddamn.
Dude, it's creepy.
We don't gotta fucking touch ourselves over everything, for God's sakes.
It does look really cool, but to go on to what Karak said, it's the same as Elden Ring, or when we heard about Elder Scrolls 6. Like, it's a flashy trailer. It looks cool, but like, show me gameplay, and then I will be that's when I will measure my hype levels.
Do you guys? I'm with you. Do you guys feel this has kind of been a general theme for this E3? A lot of cinematics, because I don't know what it is. I don't think it was all cinematics, because you have conferences like Nintendo's and mostly Square Enix, where I felt there was just loads of gameplay, and it was what I was looking for during E3, but I think there was just a higher percentage in general of cinematics. And do you guys share that sentiment? Because I know, Karak, you said in the Patreon, or in the patron Discord, I think you were talking about Microsoft and saying you counted like the cinematics versus the actual gameplay. And I don't know if you disagree with that sentiment.
I would disagree, but I would say that I completely agree with people that the CGI they did show was for titles they didn't want to see CGI on.
Yeah, like, so for example, we'll say Cyberpunk.
Gears, they showed Gears CGI and by the way, the licensed music video, Mad World came out, and now everybody's trying to fucking get their own version of the commercial for Mad World, which was the Gears. It's a fucking licensed music single, and they're trying to slow it down and remix it. Fuck that. But if you look at the amount of like titles Microsoft did show gameplay for, if you count every title, including indies, they had a shit ton of gameplay. It's just not for the titles that we wanted to see. Yeah. That title, Elden Ring, I get why they didn't show much, because like there wasn't much to show. But what pisses me off about Microsoft, for example, is the next two events they did show gameplay for Gears.
That's what was weird.
And it frustrates the fuck out of me because it looked good. And so maybe missteps. But I think for Bethesda in particular, and that game in particular, that makes sense of where they were, where they are. The execution. Dude, you show it, it's going to be us on the internet going, let me look at the feet. Her feet aren't touching the ground. And they're like, it's a fucking alpha, you jackass. So they have to sit there, and I know developers, you do, Cowboy does, and that's frustrating as fuck. Imagine a writer with their first paragraph of their book going, here you go, and somebody being like, that's shit. Well, of course it's shit. It's the book's not done, you fuck. So that kind of stuff, excuse me for Paul, God damn it. I'm sorry. See, I even cussed when I tried not to cuss. I don't want to get demonetized. I get why they do it, and I get why it's frustrating, so I understand both sides. I totally understand. But I lived through some poopy E3s in the past. Worse ones than this. Wow. I had to sit through Connect and the poncho disaster. I had to sit through the Connect and the ponchos. Everybody wearing ponchos at Microsoft's Connect event. So I've seen far worse. Personally.
Yeah. I just feel like the industry's advanced enough where we're such a gameplay centric industry, right? Like that, or rather E3. Like that's usually the thing. Like last year, felt like we saw gameplay for everything, and then all of a sudden, this year I don't want to say dialed it back, because we did see a lot of gameplay. Just like you said, it was for certain titles. I didn't understand why. Yes, Cyberpunk can have its gameplay behind closed doors, but why can't you have a gameplay trailer?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Very weird.
Absolutely. And by the way, guys, let me ask you something real quick. Sorry, go ahead, Cowboy. Just remind me. I want to ask you guys something about Cyberpunk.
That's what they did with the Avengers. They were like, they did this big cinematic trailer, and they're like, come try the game over here at this station. Like, what the? So people can go hands-on, but you don't want to show it to the world? Like, why? Is it bad?
I've heard that Avengers actually didn't look that great.
Anyway, all right, so what were you saying?
Well, did you guys see the Did you see the post in particular, Matty, about there were multiple YouTubers and multiple websites that got hands-on with Cyberpunk and were not happy with the gameplay? Did you see that? Or not hands-on, they got to watch the guy play it, and every one of them, Rock Paper Shotgun was like, the gunplay in this is bad. like legitimately not good. And there were multiple people who were like, I saw it, and so that is also a reason why.
Strange, because I thought the one that got revealed to the public last year looked really good, and I saw it behind closed doors originally. I was like, this is great.
That's why I'm saying, though, I get why they might not want to show it, because if those people are saying that, that doesn't mean really much. We're many months out. Optimization, adjustments, control to animation. So I stated it as, this is interesting because we usually don't see negative previews. It's something I bitched about. That's why I sort of created the channel, because all these previews were like, this game's great. And I'm all, dude, like, then you review it a week later and you say it's shit. Like, what were you doing at the preview? So it was cool to see them be more honest with stuff, but I do get why they do it. I do get why they hold some of it back. It sucks, though, because I would like to have seen that Cyberpunk gameplay they're talking about, so I could at least watch and go, where are they in development? Oh, they're at a point where they haven't really solidified something. You know, we talked about this, sound for guns. You can fake recoil with sound. So maybe there's a sound, maybe they just haven't popped up the sound to, you know, get that recoil feel in a gun. That could be all that they're missing, but some of those people who went to preview wouldn't know that. They wouldn't pick up on those things. So that, yeah, like that kind of stuff really does, it does, it sucks. I get it. I get why they're doing it. But
it's like a double-edged sword.
It is. There's no real way around it. And guys, man, look at Anthem. They showed gameplay that turned out to not really be what we got. Right? And they got, I mean, you could almost say the game got destroyed. I mean, it sucked also. But I'm just saying, like, some games, they show something, you get it. Watch Dogs, we know that wasn't real, the original Watch Dogs slice. I don't know, man. Like, I get why they do it, but it sucks for us because I want to see it. I want to make my own decision, because reading those things doesn't really help. It doesn't inform me. It just informs me of what somebody else saw. I mean, it was third person, really. They were watching somebody else play the game in front of them. That's not even first person, right? That's not even holding it, feeling the recoil, feeling the vibration.
Yeah,
and
they were just delivering what they experienced.
Yeah.
As for Bethesda, anything else from their showcase that stuck out to you? 10 things that were shown.
I have one.
Tech thing?
People have. Well, the tech thing was awesome. Orion. That's very real. John Carmack's talked about it. Like, that kind of stuff is very real. It's far out. No, the VR Wolfenstein. Multiple people got hands-on with the VR mode of Wolfenstein and said it was really good. And I'm just happy. That's all. It's a big name attached to VR, like Doom. So, but as a fan of VR, I was happy to see.
Is it like an actual story, or is it just like one of those on rails?
Side story. No, it doesn't look like it's on rails. It looks like it's you move around. Like you are in control of your character.
That's good. All right. Yeah. Bethesda didn't have much to show. I thought it was I wouldn't even say like disappointing, just super underwhelming. Not enough to be shown.
What did Arcane show?
Deathloop.
There was Deathloop. There was the Rising, the Tokyo.
Yeah. Think of just all they showed. It was either like a CGI for something that just isn't ready to be revealed, which is fine.
I'm just trying to make sure we didn't forget anything, because I know Bethesda fans in here.
Here, actually, let me. This is a list I've been going through. That has accompanying trailers for stuff, if it's something you're not aware of too.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we're not skipping.
Yeah,
anything,
Doom, Tokyo, Deathloop, Elder Scrolls Legends. Going well for a card game. I used to play Legends a lot until Magic Arena came out. I was playing Legends a ton, but I mean, Magic is the granddaddy, in my opinion, still the best card game ever freaking made. So it was. I moved over to that. Wolfenstein, new game streaming technology, Rage expansion, Fallout, and Blades.
Okay, 2 there. I got to say, I'm really excited for Switch getting Blades. I know that sounds really bad, but I actually think it fits on Switch. So I'm interested in that. And then the Doom expansion looked fun. That's all I'll say. It just mech, movable mech. That I like the gun shooting in Doom, or in Rage. Sorry, Rage.
Yeah, so more Rage is great. That's my favorite game of the year so far. So more Rage is good news.
Whoa! Hot take.
Really?
Whoop, whoop.
Really?
Dude, yeah. Just because you and I liked it, but
I thought it was great. I didn't care about the story. I just thought it was fun as shit. I love the world. I love the shooting. I love the driving. Like, I was just totally about that game.
I have such mixed feelings about it, because I like the combat.
Driving, not so much.
and I like the driving. Like I like the driving combat, but I feel like because you have these like down periods between doing missions, it's almost like Doom if you had to take naps between doing your missions.
I get that, and a lot of people don't like that. I like that though, because for Doom, I was like, give me a sec. Just like I don't mind the constant action, but like I don't.
Right.
I think it's just because of what games I grew up loving. I always like the moment to moment of downtime, exploring, feeling the world. Not that you can't get that in Doom, but I like that Rage had that. We're going from point A to point B in my vehicle. Something could happen.
Look around.
Yeah, I always like that. I always like I wouldn't even call it downtime because I feel like the game's not about downtime, but I like that breathing room in that particular game combined with the gameplay from Doom that I really enjoyed. Plus, I thought the powers were good in that title too.
Oh yeah, it's interesting. We're all three of different minds on this. Like, because I didn't like the driving compared to Mad Max, even though Maddie didn't like Mad Max, but I didn't like the driving. I love the shooting, and I like the pauses. And then Cowboy wanted more of that action, which sort of mimics what he said about Wolfenstein, which that makes sense. Like that sort of that you can tell where his feed line goes, what he's liking. And then you liking the moments down and liking the shooting and liking the driving. Like it would have been fun to have a three person video and just try to cover just Rage, because that shows right there the differences.
Yeah.
Like, because those are all three big parts. The downtimes are a big part in that game. The driving's a big part, and the shooting's a big part. And it's interesting. We all three took something different from at least one aspect of that.
I will say that the motorcycles control like fucking dick in that game.
Dog shit. Shit.
I don't
Dude,
know why they
get on
didn't
the first
that.
one and crash like I did. I got on the first one and was like,
I thought my controller broke because I thought I had a dead spot on my controller because it wouldn't turn. I was like, what is happening?
That's awesome.
I thought they put in like the Akira motorcycle slide, and then I realized that my bike was it wasn't doing that. It was doing like a 270 turn into a cliff.
Yeah, no matter what sensitivity you turn that on, it was too high. It was crazy on those motorbikes. It was slip and slide, man. That's funny. It's true.
All right. Anyway, more Rage on the way. Next is Ubisoft. Let's begin with Watch Dogs Legion, a pretty big leak that was then confirmed by Ubisoft prior to their showcase. We saw a good meaty demo of that. We saw a trailer even of them like taking over NPCs. We saw a grandma turn into an assassin. Seems quite ambitious. I really, really like the animations for the melee takedowns. I thought those were like the
John Wick style, baby.
Yeah, like the stylish shooting under the arm without looking at your target. Really flashy, but elegantly so. I really like that. Overall interested in the game. Coming March 6th, 2020. Are you guys excited about it or indifferent on it because it's just so far out? Because I would totally be in the same boat. It's coming to PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Stadia, which Ubisoft always puts their games on any new platform.
I'd put Watch Dogs at like a 7 on a 10. Like I like the Watch Dogs. They're fun. I like hacking and going around, but I don't know. There's nothing about the Watch Dogs games that ever really like blew me away. I think it's because I grew up with stuff like Grand Theft Auto.
Right,
and
Sam.
To an extent, it's Grand Theft Auto, but with the addition of more tech and hacking and whatnot. And it's always fun, but those games have never been something that like that I guess just really blows me away. Like they're fun to play, you can waste hours in them without question, but they don't ever really. I feel like they don't quite hit the mark. Like when there's so much content, I feel like you dilute your quality to an extent.
Agreed.
Can I ask you something, Cowboy? Did you like Odyssey?
Okay.
That's a good answer.
I liked it more than Watch Dogs. But I'm a huge nerd for that whole fantasy, like fighting minotaurs and whatnot, and all that stuff. So I liked it enough. But I wouldn't put that in like a Game of the Year category or anything.
Okay. Yeah, because Karak and I really like that game, so I guess seeing another ambitious open world title, I kind of believe a little more in Ubisoft to see them, make this one feel good. Because I always felt like they have these main characters in every Watch Dogs game that just are uninteresting, or they aren't that great, or they just don't get the job done in terms of making the story compelling. And I'm just kind of thrilled to see them go, fuck that, let's do something like really crazy with the gameplay instead and make it about that. Because I've kind of... I think the best word to be matured into where I game, and it doesn't always, you can tell when a game's designed to like actually bring you this fucking top tier story, and when like in the case of Legion, you know, if you're, I'm sorry, but if you're making every NPC playable and like you're talking about all these systems in place, and obviously it's going to have that patented hacking Watch Dogs gameplay. We literally saw them activate a car down the road and it flew down the alley and ran someone over through their cover. You know, that's what the experience is about. And to me, that sounds, I don't want to say exciting, like I'm sitting here, I can't wait for it, but I'm interested.
Yeah. Anytime you have intuitive ways to solve problems, I think that's good. It's needed in an open world game.
Yeah, it's a good way of saying it. Are you excited for a Karak at all?
Yeah, a lot.
A lot.
Like a lot. Like might be my most. So there's two reasons. One, this entire game is an accident, by the way. I don't know if you guys. So I've been watching and reading everything on this since it got shown. Microsoft showed a bunch as well, and then a later event showed a bunch. This was somebody accidentally making an NPC playable in the Watch Dogs like editor. And they all sort of sat around and was like, oh, this NPC shouldn't be playable. Wait, what should we like make an entire game where everybody's playable and building it from there?
That's so cool. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie.
And here's why I think it's cool. If you understand development, usually what happens is there's two ways it goes. A developer comes in, the lead says we have 3 ideas or we have 1 idea and you guys are going to make it and let me sell you on it. Sort of like what they do at an E3. Mm-hmm. Then you have the other, which is like everybody come up with an idea, let's sit together. But usually what happens is everything's pared down to the one good idea. And so the developers on the ground floor, there's not a lot of excitement there because usually they've come up with an idea that isn't the one that's chosen. Right. What happened here is you have this mistake, and they said that like it lit the fire of the entire floor. Like the entire floor was like, what? And they were all, let's just do everybody. And everybody was excited. And I'm going to tell you, like, usually you don't hear a development company say like the ground floor artist was like, wait, we could do this. And so everybody got to put their input in. And that's what we're getting with Legion. And to me, usually what that indicates is that when the team's excited, you do get something like sort of magical right there.
They love it.
And
it makes it easier for us to fall in love with it, you know?
And the fact that all 3 of us could play this game side by side, I can invite you over. We're doing a 3-day weekend where we all record. I bet you if I took Granny Army of 2 for my team, you chose Hipster, and Cowboy chose Badass Thug, we would have a different thematic experience at the very minimum. Mm-hmm. And to me, that is magical. It's magical by an experience base.
What I like about State of Decay, actually.
It is exactly why I like State of Decay. Yes. Oh. And then also, I didn't like Watch Dogs 2 very much. I was not a huge...
the first one more when I really think about it.
I did. Yeah. And number 2, the hipster, all that weird shit, it just wasn't for me. And... they talked about something crazy. They were like, every NPC is handmade. So they were like, this guy's got a mother. And it says something like, mother works so-and-so. If you go and you beat the shit out of his mother and you're a different character, he will leave your group. And that's why I like State of Decay, because State of Decay has those same connected
example, bro.
things. Well, dude, that's my example. I'd go beat her up just to see. Like, that's the first thing I would do in the game. I'd get my Granny Army and I'd beat the shit out of Maddie's dad. Like, that would be the first thing I would do. And so all these things being connected, that excites me. It also excites me that they're using the player models in the cutscenes. So, you know, we've seen that before, right? Where, and so the idea that everybody is in whatever cutscene, all that overarching stuff, watching the guy go through and say you have 20, so what you have is 20 NPC, or 20 players. And those 20 can be switched out at any time. And you can be anybody in the game world, but those 20 are also fast travel points, just like GTA 5. So, like Trevor, you would remember when you pick Trevor and he's puking or he's pissing in some toilet somewhere, and you become him.
It's kind of evolving that idea too. Wow.
Yeah, so all 20 of those are fast travel points. Plus, you have the normal fast travel, you have a full transit system, and then you can also just be anybody. And I really loved that idea. From a standpoint of investigation and excitement, not if it'll be good. It's just that's new to me. We talk about innovation, and I rarely see it. And I wouldn't necessarily say this is innovation because GTA 5 did have 3 protagonists, but I would say there's a lot of iteration going on here. And all of these things from State of Decay, like you said, that I liked, I am fascinated by how it would come together from a me telling a story that's different than your guys's. And I think that rarely do we see games do that. Whether they succeed or not, I don't know, but I think it'll be fascinating. Look at GTA role-playing right now. It's a huge thing. It's massive, right? So the idea of me being this old lady and doing this event, by the way, they said 50% of all weapons in the game are non-fatal. And the idea of all these non-fatal weapons and fatal weapons, what you can do as the old lady. Like they were showing, dude, she could barely catch up to the bad guy. The bad guy's walking and she's like shuffling, trying to shock him. And I'm just like, I know people will get frustrated. It will happen. Somebody's like, I wish she was faster, but guess what? That's what's funny about it. Like that's what's...
It's cool that it's allowed and it's based
cool.
off her age.
Yes, and they had her leap off a second floor onto the first, and they said she can do it, but watch her get up animation. And it's like 4 times the speed of everybody else. Everybody else just sort of gets up and she's like, and she does this thing where she's like holding herself up, and I'm sitting there in my brain going, dude, this is going to be, just for me making funny videos is going to be absolutely, it's going to be intoxicating from that level, not from a good game level, just what might happen.
And I'm really excited. Freedom.
Yeah, the level, and all of us just laughing in a podcast one day and just being like, what did you do? Well, I did this. That to me is the magic of games, is when we can sit and we can tell different stories from the same supposed experience.
Yeah, and they continued some of that fun with Roller Champions, free-to-play game that is available. I think it's still available now on PC and on Uplay. There's like a closed alpha that you can get into. Kind of took inspiration, I guess, from Rocket League in terms of some like fun arcade kind of game. I watched gameplay of it and I didn't get that same feeling. I remember when Rocket League went free on PS Plus, and I looked at it as like a haha thing. And I remember in a party with my friend going, "This actually looks really fun." And I didn't get that feeling looking at Roller Champions gameplay. Like I was like, "Oh, this looks fun." Granted, Rocket League came out finished. This isn't a closed alpha, but I didn't get the feeling of fun of going in this circle and fighting for the ball and having one goal. I just, maybe I didn't understand the game enough, but for me personally, it did not, I don't want to say it didn't sell me, because it looks like I'm in on the idea. I like the idea of more Rocket League inspired games coming out, because Rocket League was one of the more fun games to come out this gen. But something just hasn't grabbed me with it, and it's really hard to put my finger on it.
Yeah, go ahead, Cowboy. Did you see that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of right there with you, Matty. Like, I'm sure people are going to play it. It looked neat enough, but there was nothing about it that made me go like, oh, man, I can't wait. I gotta get home right now and download this. This looks so cool. Like, it just... I don't know. Man. I think part of it is there was... I don't remember the name of the game, but there's... And maybe it was that, but I swear to God, there was, like, a copycat game of that I got, like, an email... You guys, you know, I get like press emails, and it's like, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It was something like that, and I want to say it might have even been this game, but it wasn't from Ubisoft. It was a different game that looked just like it, and I saw it, and then like I had that mental click for a second. I'm like, wait a minute, like this, didn't somebody else make this already? And so I don't know. You know, like I can't remember the name at all, but. That was more memorable to me than the actual gameplay of it was. Gotcha. I swear to God, I've seen this before.
And I don't know about you guys, the speed on this was slow. It looked slow the entire time I was watching the trailer. That's the big. That might be it for me too. Is it just looked glacial compared to?
I think part of it was also I had just seen Alita Battle Angel, and there's this game they play in the universe. I forgot the name of it, but they're on rollerblades, and it's like a rollerblade death match. And I'm not looking for a death match, but it's fast, it's heavy, it's awesome, it's frantic, it looks so cool, and it's like something that I was looking at going like, man, I wanna play that if they ever made a game based off that. And when I heard about Roller Champions in the leak that came out about a month before E3, I didn't look into it thinking like, oh man, this could be exactly what I was thinking of. And when I saw it, I think that was it. The speed, it wasn't as fast as I had hoped for. And I think that's because my initial introduction to some roller type of sport, outside of like, I guess, rollerblading in real life, was what we saw in Alita Battle Angel. You know, that type of like roller trash, I guess. There's an actual name for it, but it looks interesting. I hope it does shape up, but something just didn't grab me with it. I'm just kind of hitting the main ones here. Ghost Recon, or I'm sorry, not Ghost Recon. No, we could talk about that though. But I was gonna say Rainbow Six Quarantine got announced, and
it looked. I mean, we don't know like anything about it. At least aside from that. But I mean, I like the idea. I think it's going to be some type of horde game, tactical shooting, maybe survival with friends. Anything that's cooperative like that, I always get on board with because they're great titles to stream with friends. You know, you can have no prep work. Like I could DM you guys and be like, hey, y'all want to hop on and just do some quarantine for launch and set something up. And no one needs to know anything. You don't need to worry about builds or speccing characters correctly. Which I have a funny story about that. I'll tell you after the podcast. But I think it'll be fun. It looks like it'll be a good co-op shooter, based on what we know. But once again, we know almost nothing at this point.
Right. Are you guys assuming it's based, at least loosely, on the events that they do in Rainbow Six Siege occasionally, where there is a PvE mode? Because there's a PvE against zombies that came up, and I don't even know if it's still running. But all the people in my Discord were playing it, and I'm wondering if this is like the full standalone of that event mode that they had in Rainbow Six Siege. This was about 6 months ago. I'm sure people in the watching the podcast would know.
I don't play Rainbow Six, so I wouldn't.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with it, but I mean from what we saw, it seems very much like you're together trying to survive. There's external things that aren't player controlled that are coming after you, so that could very well be. I mean, we saw that with the infected mode in Call of Duty. That came from being a custom fan made mode, and it got so popular that they put it into the game.
Yeah, and 3VE, which is what they announced for this, is 3V. That's what the Rainbow Six special mode was 3VE. And I don't know about you guys, I sort of like the off-kilter 3 versus 4V. Like, I don't know
seems
why.
Like, get your friends together, but 3's like, this is distinctly designed for that.
And it's like the one loser, you friend who's like, hey, I want to play, and you're like, we're going to try hard mode today. We need 3 good people. I don't know if that's true, but the idea of 3, I like the offset. You can't always say, you go right, I'll go left. You 2 go right, we'll 2 go left. Instead, you always have the odd man out, so I sort of dig. I sort of dig the idea of. But Rainbow Six Siege has got amazing gameplay. That's the one thing that excites me about this.
Yeah, I think it'll be neat. Kind of like what Cowboy said. Part of my excitement stems from that idea to be like, let's do a stream together. Maybe this will be fun. A lot of people ask me that about 76's BR mode. They're like, do you like it because you could play it and make videos on it? I'm like, no, like I've played more of this offline just in my own enjoyment. But like it is exciting knowing that you can like make videos on stuff and stream stuff with friends, and that's the fun of it. Like people don't realize like part of our content is tied into that, but like it's like us getting together with friends and playing a co-op game like usual. Just it involves people who share the same job as us. Yeah. There's also Gods and Monsters, sorry, that got announced at the end. The kind of action-adventure, Breath of the Wild-inspired game. We saw a smidge of gameplay made by the creators of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is why I have a specific interest in it. I also like the idea of a game. We see inspiration from plenty of AAA games, but this is like the first one I can really recall that clearly took some inspiration from Breath of the Wild, outside of like Pokemon Sword and Shield and some of the open-world areas. So what did you guys think of the way Ubisoft closed the show with this game?
I mean, it looks interesting, this is a personal gripe, but I really just don't like this art style.
Okay.
We kind of saw it blow up with Fortnite, and Dauntless has it, and you know me, I'm a huge Monster Hunter nerd, and I tried playing Dauntless, and I'm like, it doesn't feel like I'm doing anything. There's colors, it's flashy, it's cool. I mean, it's a cool game, and it's free to play, and it's on all these consoles. It's great, but it doesn't feel that oomph that I look for. And looking at that, I kind of felt the same thing. Like it'd be cool to go around slaying these mystical characters, fighting Medusa and Griffins and all kinds of other monsters from that time. But it doesn't look like it's going to have that oomph. It looks like it's going to have that very slap happy, almost Kingdom Heart-esque combat to it. And I'm kind of like, thanks, but let's go over here instead, I think.
What about you, Karak? Gods and Monsters up your alley?
No, I agree with him. I like that art style in some games, but what they showed that didn't. I mean, it could turn out awesome. That's for sure. Like if the gameplay is fun, I can ignore that. But I think art style is a big deal. I mean, we don't want to say that looks matter. Looks fucking matter. They do, and if they don't grab you,
it's building
like,
the universe. Yeah, it certainly
the
matters.
grim dark of the grim dark but comical, like Monster Hunter, that grabs some people, and then they try Dauntless and they look at it and it's just got that. It sets the theme, and if the theme doesn't bite, then I completely feel the same way, and it didn't for me. We didn't see a lot, but that didn't for me.
Right on. Yeah, I'm interested in it. I think it looks neat. I agree with Cowboy though. The art style. I've never insta-deleted a game more fast than Dauntless, because when I started up, I saw the Fortnite art style. I was like, all right, I guess I can deal with this. And then I saw the battle pass, and I literally noped out. I was like, no. I swear, someone was share playing with me so they could like see the game because they didn't have it downloaded. I've never like went dashboard into my delete button any faster than like that. It was fucking insane.
Speaking of battle passes, what about that Super Neato Uplay subscription announcement?
What was it, $15 a month?
Something like that.
Oh my god!
It's not even console. It's not even console. It's just PC.
The crazy thing is, don't get me wrong. I like Ubisoft. Ubisoft is a great company to work with. They have, I mean, over the year, I would argue they give out some of probably the coolest little PR things too. Like I have an Alexa upstairs, but it's called Alexios, and it has a little.
They sent you the cool shit. I got a fucking umbrella last year.
Yes. So we have different experiences.
Yeah,
man.
I got a fucking umbrella. I used to walk my dog. Thanks, Ubisoft.
But I don't think Ubisoft has the gaming repertoire to launch their own subservice.
Yeah,
they just don't. They have. I mean, you have Rainbow Six. You have.
They have a lot of games.
Those are your two
price.
big standing. You got the Splinter Cell stuff. And then outside of that, it's a lot of kind of smaller offshoot titles. You have For Honor, you have Trials, you have Just Dance, I guess. But a lot of these games are ones where, either you can already pick up the prior iterations for dirt cheap to the point where it's cheaper than the subscription, or they were so far in the past that it's just not really worth the time with everything else that you probably have on your plate now. Like, I just don't see the value in only Uplay games for $15 a month.
Yeah, I think their games are also based on investment, and the investment usually is done via the purchase of the title itself, and people want to sit and play it. Most subscription-based that we're used to are based on a bunch of titles that we've even talked about. Game Pass. Oh, I'll download it because I've never heard of it, or I've never played this game. But with Ubisoft games, they're usually investment titles already. And I think most people will invest in the one price and just get it, and that's what they'll do. And it's not as often either. Ubisoft's game releases are not often enough that a subscription makes sense to me. If they were releasing,
they're long games too. Like
exactly, the investment's insane.
For your average your average gamer, you look at even whether you love it or hate it, you could look at Odyssey or Watch Dogs, for example. For your average person that doesn't do this like we do, I'd say you might play games 5, maybe 10 hours a week. That game could take you 4 or 5 months to get all the way through, especially if you're someone that's like, I really want to get this trophy. Like, that's your thing. You come home from work and you're just trying to get a trophy.
Right.
Does it make sense to pay for $15 a month when you're going to have one game and you could have just owned it, especially in this age where we kind of see games as a service, which has already plenty of negative connotations around it. I don't know. I don't think it's a good play.
To me, games as a service is one thing. This feels like game as a service because they don't release more than one game a month anyway. So the idea of I would just rather buy it. And again, no console is crazy to me. They also don't have console save, cross-saving for most of their titles. I just turned on Odyssey for the PC and remembered that the save game that I have there is way different than the console one. And I did that thing where I was just like, oh, for fuck's sakes. And I love Odyssey. I love Odyssey. And I've been making quests with the quest maker that they just released. Fucking having a blast. And no way, man. They need to fix that shit as soon as possible as well, where you can grab your character from your PS4 and put them on.
That was a big thing for For Honor too, which is, that game it's holding on, man. It's got rope around each arm and it's not falling into that damn pit. And when it was finally when a PC got dedicated servers, tons of people started flocking to PC. Whereas console, you're still locked at 30 FPS, but you couldn't transfer progress. And it was baffling because you had these people that were like, you know, the equivalent. I mean, just to go Call of Duty Prestiges, because everyone's played a Call of Duty once before. Imagine being like Prestige 50, and then you have to start from level 1.
Yeah, this is crazy. Crazy.
I view this subscription service thing in the terms of like comparison. You know, when in the same 24-hour window, when you have Microsoft coming out and saying $15 a month gets you gold, you can play online, go on parties, get games with gold, and then you can also have Game Pass on both PC and your Xbox One. Like, why would I ever go on PC exclusively and do the whatever they call it, Uplay subscription? I just
and PlayStation, they're rolling out their let me see. There was a thing on Twitch for it. PlayStation Now, which I think is right around the same thing. And the thing is, it has those games in it.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Like, it has
some
Odyssey,
of these games
it has
are
Watch
overlapping. Yeah.
It's just a weird overlap. It just shows a company that saw dollar signs, and they've been good at not doing that, but they saw dollar signs, let's do our own thing, someone will buy it, so therefore reasons, and then put it out there, ignore the hate, let it be, someone will buy it. It's exactly what they're doing, in my opinion. My favorite thing I think I saw during this whole showcase was actually like right in the beginning. Assassin's Creed Odyssey story mode creator.
It's amazing.
Pretty dank.
I always have mixed feelings about story mode creators because on one hand they're fantastic. Usually it's, you know, and you give fans unparalleled freedom in a sense, but at the same time it's like, I mean, this is weird to say, but it's because it's up to the community to come up with stuff. You're essentially like waiting for that next person. You're like, who is going to make the next story? I need a story now, and somebody else out there needs to make a freaking story that I can play. And I know that's a really weird complaint. It's probably the most entitled thing I think I've said this year. But I mean, that was like my thing with Divinity Original Sin, is I was always looking for new because you have the custom campaigns, but they're so in depth that it's like a full-time job to try and create one. And, you know, I don't have that time, so I'm always looking, and I'm like, why is no one making campaigns? Where are they at?
I mean, it makes sense, though. That's kind of the fun of the mode, right? It's the same thing with although it's not an issue because there's so many.
You're being a digital GDM, essentially.
Yeah, it's modding. Like, you know, when modding in Bethesda Game Studios games, like, for me, I like the graphical overhauls and stuff, but for me, I always look for quests and, like, the best ones, and when you go through all those, you're like, well, where are the new ones, then? And yeah, I get what you're saying. I wouldn't call it entitled. It's part of the platform that you're buying into, or the update you're downloading. You know,
or you can say the reverse of it. It's not entitled. It's just being excited about something and wanting more. I mean, there's no, you know. I made one in like an hour where you hunt the 4 members of the podcast, the ACG podcast, and it worked. Like, I made it in like 15 minutes, and like their editor is insanely easy to make if you understand how to draw a line graph. And I was sitting there looking at some of the stuff, and I'm all, people are going to make Sherlock Holmes investigations in this. They're going to do all this crazy stuff. But I get it, where you're like, also parsing the shit. What is good versus what's rated high, just because it's like, go hunt Karak because you hate him. That might be rated high, but it may not be good, right? So, yeah, I don't think it's entitled. It's just, you want the good stuff, and you don't have the time for it, which also sucks.
Yeah. Last but not least, Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I mean, I'm very disinterested in this game, just because Ghost Recon Boring Lands, as Karak would call it, kind of just don't give a fuck.
All right, I will say, I didn't enjoy Wildlands at all until I tried the multiplayer, and it was actually really good.
Okay.
That was back when I was on my PUBG kick, back when it just came out and everyone was getting on Battle Royale, and we tried out Wildlands multiplayer, which was just 4v4, but it was really good. Like, when you were, you know, when you were a ghillie suit in bushes, you were in that freaking ghillie suit. Like, you had to get spotted with thermal or somebody that was like super paying attention. And to taking that as a reference, I'm kind of excited to see what they'll do and if they'll expand on the multiplayer. But the single player aspect of it, I'd agree. I couldn't care. It could fall into my lap, and I'd, you know, boot up something else. Let it sit.
Interesting. Yeah, I know it's a game that's not about delivering. In this case, I feel like it has an opportunity to deliver a story that could be interesting. I just don't. There's like that sixth sense. You get a feeling when, you know, like, something's got something special to tell you, and like, I wasn't getting that with this game. I do like the gameplay of Ghost Recon Wildlands in the terms of team play, coordination. I would like, and also like for example, we saw in the initial reveal, cutting fences. I hadn't seen something like that since Star Wars Bounty Hunter, where to get from like point A to point B, you'd use the thing on your wrist and then kick the fence down. I thought that was awesome. I wonder if they'll add more of a strategic element. I'd like for this to be a little more, I guess, and I don't see it happening because of how successful this game was, despite my lack of enjoyment with it. Like a little more. I don't like the word hardcore, but that's the only thing I can think of right now. Where a little more gritty, tough, easier to die. Where making sure you really sync up with your team is important. Getting caught really puts you in some deep shit. Not like you can't get out of it and you might as well stealth everything, but like it gets significantly more difficult to escape a base if you're caught. I would like to see that in this game because then that invests me in communicating with my team and not just putting my feet up on the couch and going, all right, like, here we go, boys, another base. I feel like that's what Ghost Recon Wildlands sort of devolved into, and I would like to see them reach the heights that I think they could, which is like a modern open-world SOCOM game, really. That's what I'm looking for with this game. I think it's got the potential to do so, but I just don't really trust with how the first one did so well with what it did that they'll just change it all of a sudden. Yeah. I don't see why they would. Karak, I know you love your Wildlands, so any thoughts?
No, I would agree with you guys. I'm just sort of blasé about it. Once it comes out, I'll be more interested. But what I've seen hasn't really grabbed me.
I'm just thinking back to like SOCOM on. I think it was, oh god, I don't even remember what console it was on, but the one where they like first added the voice commands and you'd like tell the NPCs to do something and they would like misinterpret it. And you're like, no, don't, no, not attack. Screaming.
I think that was at the PS2. I think that's what it was.
It was one of them, man. It was like it was such.
I said slow, game. Not go. And exactly. You're like, God damn it. Yeah.
I love that. All right, yeah, that's all for Ubisoft. We still got two more. We got Square Enix next, and let's start with the big one, the Big Daddy, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Really kind of stole the show for a lot of people. They were wowed. People were concerned about development. Square Enix said, here's a trailer the night before. Here's another new trailer. Here's a ton of gameplay. And then there's another trailer. So, with all of that, are you gentlemen concerned or excited? I will tell you right now, easily game of the show for me and competed for Cyberpunk in my levels of excitement.
I have very mixed feeling. On one hand, like, all right, up front, yes, I'm going to play it. It's a new version of Final Fantasy VII. It's a remake of it. Mm-hmm. At the same time, I know the story. I know what happens.
Yep,
so dies. We know this stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's hard. Like, I'm not as excited as I will be going into something blind because I already know. But between seeing the new combat system and how they're mixing it up and seeing how in-depth the world is now, and then a couple industry folks I know had a chance to go hands-on. I was talking to them about it, and they said that they were absolutely blown away by the combat. So it's definitely something I'm hyped for. I can't put it up at the top of the list because, I know what happens in Final Fantasy VII. And so it takes something away, I think.
I get that. Karak?
Graphically, it looked really good. I really like the particle system stuff. What they showed, I was a little nervous that in the long run, if you had to do that long of a combat all the time, it would be really spongy feeling. But it may have just been that boss, but it was I think that was killing my soul after about the 40th minute. It felt like the 40th minute of them smashing on that dude.
Yeah.
I'm talking like if it's replicated with the normal enemies and it's that long, I just don't know how I feel about that. Time stopping was cool. The time freeze thing was very cool. But overall, I don't really have any expectations for it. I will say it's nice to see something. I did hear a rumor, and then one of the developers sort of did flush out that rumor, which is that they've stopped working on the later sequels to it or whatever, part 2 and 3 or part 2, we don't know, and they're just working on this, which makes me a little nervous. I told you this last podcast, I'm a little nervous I might play this and then it'd be 2 years before part 2, which, knowing like development times, that's not actually like that uncommon, which could, depending on where they split the story. Like, where do they end this chapter?
I just feel like 7's so good because it's this one culmination of, like, you know, rising from the ground up and how the world builds itself. And if you interrupt any of that, it loses its steam. That's the one thing I agree I'm afraid of. Didn't they say it would be on 2 discs, though?
They said two Blu-ray discs for just this part. 2
Blu-ray discs for just this part.
Insane, dude. I mean, that makes me a little hopeful that they're not going to cut anything out. Like, they're retaining everything.
I don't think they are. I think they're really treating it like 2 games. Or 3 games, because I think they even said in that, or maybe it was after, they said, well, we don't even know how many, like, parts the next chapter will be or whatever. So, yeah, it just depends on where it ends, right? Like, if it ends on a really good moment where you're like, I just don't want to play number 2 and go, fuck, what did I do? Like, in the first one? And it's not even really the first one, it's the first part, which, again, feels a little odd. Maybe they'll add some stuff.
I'm sure they're going to have, like, a movie.
Mini ending in this one where it feels like sort of a baby ending, which would be cool. But what I saw looked really awesome.
Yeah, I'm personally stoked for the game. I think it's like you usually see sacrifices made somewhere, and seeing this hybrid of action and strategy for a game that was rooted in strategy, I just think that's such a insanely good job. And based off impressions that, like, it plays as well as it looked, that's really, really awesome to see. And considering its double disc nature, I guess we'll call it makes me a little more hopeful they're not cutting out the things. Because I always tell people, like, for example, people really like that you could take Barrett on a date to the beach and think that's hilarious. And the idea that, for example, now we're seeing 2 discs shows that something like that down the line in the later parts may not actually get removed from the game.
Right.
And I like that. And so overall, that's why it's got me a lot more excited. I agree with Cowboy. You know the outcome. For me, I got to Final Fantasy VII really late. I played it for the first time, and I think it was 2012 or 13, because, you know, I was very young when it first came out, so I didn't, like, play a PS1. I was an N64 kid, and I never really fell in love with JRPGs till, like, Kingdom Hearts 2. So, like, I was late to it. For me, re-experience, you know, I'm probably going to play 7 one more time just on its own for memory's sake, so when you go into 7 Remake, you kind of keep comparing. Yeah, you can compare and contrast. But I don't think I don't want to say it diminishes my excitement. It's just something that, like, you going into a game that has such a good story, really, knowing that's going to lack that punch. I guess I view it as a nostalgic reliving of the past. Like me replaying KOTOR, though I love that game to death, a lot higher than I love Final Fantasy VII. I view it in that way, which makes me excited to re-experience it and see, like, for example, scenes like Cloud, you know, imagining Sephiroth there, which was originally, I think, Cloud just standing in a room in a text box. Now seeing, like, alleyway set ablaze and Sephiroth's there and Cloud attacks him and then he disappears.
Sephiroth did look really good.
Yeah, like that type of stuff.
Because I don't know about you. Have you seen the what is it called? You know the Final Fantasy VII movie they did?
Advent Children?
Yeah. I was comparing, like, that was my basis of what this should look like. And, whew, man, Sephiroth, I was like, yo.
Yeah, he looked good.
See, they've been working on you, my dude.
Yeah.
You're looking good.
Yeah, I'm pumped for it, man. I think they're doing a good job.
I think the big surprise, Final Fantasy VIII Remake is finally coming.
Yeah.
Where did that, because for a long time, and I don't know. I mean, Eric, I know you're deep around the dev publisher side of things, so maybe you have an idea about this, but for, like, the longest time, every other Final Fantasy was getting remakes and 8 was just silent. And then they just kind of like, hey, we finally got it. And, like, I've always wondered, like, what was the delay on 8? Was it I'm assuming it had to be some kind of licensing thing.
It was, I had heard that it was source code, that they were missing some stuff. And I don't know if that's true or not, but this is, like, from what I understand, it had something to do with some of the source code they needed and assets and stuff. But yeah, I noticed that too.
And 9,
like, right. So, and then, like, 8's the one always left out.
Yeah. So I think that made a lot of people happy, even though if 8 wasn't I wouldn't consider it the best of the Final Fantasies. I think 8 gets a lot of scrap for edgy sad squall for the entirety of the story, but It's a fun enough game. It was a good memory. I think.
It's reflective of its time.
Yeah.
When it got released, right? I think thematically. But yeah, I was actually interested in that.
I was one game that came out that I actually, it's just scratching a good itch right now is really what it's doing, but I'm pretty jazzed for it. And Karak, you probably saw it because a lot of the patrons were joking about it, but I'm pretty excited for Dragon Quest Builders too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I was, because here's the thing: is there have been so many times I've like gone to GameStop where I've looked and seen like, is there this like village management thing I can do, or this kind of like settlement sim I can experience that's, you know, like I guess a Stardew Valley, but I've played that a decent amount, or Harvest Moon, which I think they did some ports of the Switch that like wasn't very good, and Rune Factory on the Switch is like way out. So I'm like, I want something like that, and then I see this and I know it's coming out in a month, and I'm like, yes, this is it, this is what I want. And it just scratches that itch. That's literally all it does. I don't think it's going to be a fantastic game, but I've just had this almost Minecraft-esque itch. Speaking of Minecraft, we never talked about Minecraft Dungeons, which I'm pretty excited about too. But
dude, so am I.
Yeah, like, I was so pumped about that.
I saw a lot of people were like, I don't even like Minecraft. This looks awesome. Like that would be fun, 4-player Diablo in a Minecraft world.
I know, right? And especially if it's procedurally generated, kind of like Minecraft. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I'm excited for Dragon Quest. Is it Hero Builders? Dragon Quest Builders, I think. 2? But yeah, that one just scratching that itch, man. Looks fun. Looks really fun. What else do we have here? Speaking of Dragon Quest, we know that it's coming to the Switch, Dragon Quest 11.
And we got the guys in Smash now too.
Yes, we do.
Whole protagonist loadout.
Yeah, we do. Pretty cool. I like the announcement. I think Dragon Quest should get its due. It's a lot more popular, and I think a lot of people are aware of.
Yeah. And especially in Japan.
Yeah,
like there was
huge.
a thing article I was looking at, because a lot of people were complaining about it. They're like, we don't need another sword guy. I didn't want another sword guy myself, but when you look at like the reveal views, like just using YouTube views as a base, which I know is a terrible metric, but the reveal of the Dragon Quest protagonist for Smash has more views in the Japanese version of YouTube than any other Smash reveal ever.
Yeah.
Because it's such an insanely cultural phenomenon over in Japan.
Yeah, it's huge for them. Like that'll probably do better than Joker. It probably will. It's awesome. I'm happy they did that, because I like Dragon Quest. It's actually one of the. I remember I played. I think it was Dragon Quest 8 on a PS2 demo disc. That was my introduction to the series. Really, cool.
I got hooked on. There was one called Dragon Quest. It might be Dragon Quest Warriors. It was essentially a Dragon Quest Pokemon hybrid.
Oh.
But you like caught these demons and made them bang to make new demons, and they had to sacrifice themselves to have sex. But like you kept breeding them, and eventually you could make this like just the alpha and omega demon that would like one-shot everything.
Pretty cool.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's an interesting series. I guess the big thing though that I think a lot of people want us to talk about, we breezed over it a little bit, but
Final Fantasy 14 Shadowbringers.
Yeah.
Yes, Maddie,
yeah,
I agree.
all right, go in, man. That's exactly where I was going.
Best expansion I have seen coming in a long time.
All right. So you play it a lot? Do you actually? Are you being sarcastic?
No. I got into Final Fantasy right after Realm Reborn came out.
Okay.
Played for about 2 years, took a break, came back for a little bit during Heaven's Ward.
Mm-hmm.
Played for only a couple months then, and then came back for Stormbringers, and I've been going through all of Stormbringers. And so this is coming up. And the crazy thing about this is we're finally. So for those that don't, to give like the 1 minute rundown. In Final Fantasy, there's like multiple worlds going on, and it's a balance between light and dark. And in the last expansion, or actually at the end of Heaven's Ward, some shit goes down where like there's these, because in the game you're known as the Warrior of Light, and everything you're doing, the light of Hydaelyn, the light of the gods, we need to save the world, and your counterparts, the Warriors of Dark, show up, and it's not explained too well. You just assume they're like asshole bad guys, and what you actually discover is they're from essentially the first world of Hydaelyn, and they were Warriors of Light, and their world has been consumed to so much light to the point where like essentially angels are just like destroying everything they see that's impure. And so you're like finally grouping back with them, and the Dark Knight gets like his arc, and there's just a ton of crazy stuff going on. They've reworked like just about every class in the game. They're doing tons of changes. Like that's pretty. I am more hyped for this than I've been for pretty much every WoW expansion that I played, and I'm a huge.
And this
MMO.
comes out soon, right?
Yeah, we got a month. We're actually less than that. We're 2 weeks out. Early, they do an early access weekend on June, well, later this month, and then official release is July 3rd.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, people were arguably as loud, if not louder, for that than Final Fantasy VII Remake, really.
Yeah.
Like, people
was
loved
nuts.
this. So,
Oh, and to be fair, the trailer gave, like, sneak peeks into some, like, super messed up lore implications that, like, people have been discussing for the last, 4 or 5 years. And they were
so they're being
pretty much
now.
confirmed by that story reveal. So people are like, what the? Oh my god! I can't believe it. So it's gonna be for anyone out there that's looking for a new MMO, Final Fantasy will scratch that itch. 14 is so good. The best thing
I played a little bit of it. I don't know. I didn't get as grabbed as other people. I don't know what it is. I mean, I was just playing the base game of it, or I bought. Yeah. Realm Reborn's the release. Yeah, I bought that, and I was playing it, and I was like, this is solid. I don't know. It didn't really grab me.
The thing for me is I was one of those people that I had to make everything. Like in WoW, I had every class at 70. But in 14, you just have... it's your job, so it's based on your weapon. So you make your one character, and that one character can be a mage. He can be a paladin. He can be a warrior. He can be a dragoon. And... I don't know. There's something really satisfying about, like you're in a dungeon, for example, and they're like, hey, we only need, or a raid's more appropriate. But anyway, you're playing with a bunch of people, and they're like, hey, we only need one tank for this fight. You're like, sure. You press one thing, and you're a DPS class. And then suddenly, instead of being a tank doing half-ass DPS, you're doing, like, big dick DPS and helping everyone out. And there's something about it, man. It's, anyway, all right, I'm sorry.
No, dude, I'm happy you interrupted me. What I was going into was Marvel Avengers, but obviously Final Fantasy XIV is more important. We briefly glazed over this.
Oh God!
But let's talk about Marvel's Avengers. I mean, people are complaining about the character concepts, the lack of gameplay, a kind of flat reveal, awkward almost. The cast does not really match the characters almost. What do you gentlemen think about Marvel Avengers?
I mean, I think that the best moment encompassed their reveal because they were like lining it up, and you see them on the screen. They're like, "We got an all-star cast we're bringing in for this game," and everyone's like, "Holy shit! Did they get the actors? Did they actually get the actors?" And then the new squad works out, and it's like, "Huh? Wait a minute!" And then you see the character changes, and you're like, "Wait a minute!" And then you have the memes popping up where it's like, you fool, you grabbed the stunt doubles. And it's just like this downhill spiral where it's like I get it. You want to envision your own thing.
Plus, it's probably way more expensive.
Yeah, I'm sure price was prohibitive. I mean, just, I don't even want to imagine what it would cost. But, we are essentially in this lifetime where comic book movies are finally making their due. Like Marvel is a household name. And, for better or worse, when people hear the name Iron Man, they think of Robert Downey Jr. They think of his face. That is Iron Man, especially to kids. If he sees a kid in public, they're going to point at him and be like, that's Iron Man. And then you make this game that's like Iron Man now has a beard and long hair, and he just got back from a weekend trip at Long Beach. What's happening, guys?
Really look like it.
It's this huge disconnect, and I'm just kind of like, ooh, man, that's.
And they doubled down saying like we're not changing anything. And I was like, I get it. But that's an L. That's a big L in my opinion.
that's a big oof right there, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't. I think the only one that looked good was Black Widow. I really think she was the only one that they captured pretty well. Everyone else like. Steve Rogers looked fucking terrible.
Well, and I think that the bigger thing is like when you look at Marvel Spider-Man PS4, phenomenal game. Stayed very true to what we would expect of the comics. I thought the voices were appropriate. The character models were kind of what you would expect from the universe. And then you look at this and you're like, where the hell did this disconnect happen? Like,
it's like it was like an afterthought. It felt like that's the thing to me. It's not even like what they look like. It just feels kind of. For such iconic characters and such a clearly big game, it felt very rushed in that aspect. They didn't care about that. Do you care at all about the concepts?
I think this is fucking like the Avengers version of Sonic or Sonic. They're horrendous. And by the way, the voice directing or voice actors, whichever you want to say, that's the first time where I've ever watched a trailer and been able to name every voice actor as they talked. It was like Laura Bailey, Troy Baker. They didn't even try.
That's the crazier thing is they instead of going for actors, they just like picked every big name voice actor in the industry. Like,
yeah,
this is gonna make it better.
Except for like I
don't
think
know.
one guy. I think it was the one who was. I want to say
It is.
Was it Captain America? Like he was the
Yeah.
only one. I was like, I don't know him.
They did not try on the voice direction. It's either the voice direction or the actors, but that's still on the voice director. The voice director didn't tell them to change their voices, so it's just Laura Bailey as Laura Bailey.
Yeah.
And
Isn't
I
Laura
always get-
Bailey Mary Jane?
Yeah,
And what the fuck?
and that's Mary
Yeah.
Jane. That's the problem. But additionally, they fucking lied. They completely lied and said this was multiplayer. And when now IGN basically sat down and said, oh, so you can play it multiplayer, like, no. Single player campaign. Multiplayer is only unlocked when you go to some side missions in the main game. So it's not, and this is already backed up. Multiple websites have said they got the same story. So it's not 1 to 4 player multiplayer in the game itself. It's these side missions that get unlocked as you play the main mission.
It reminds me of like Spec Ops in fucking Modern
Yeah,
Warfare 2.
exactly.
Like,
Modern Warfare 2,
you got
right?
the single player campaign, and then you got your little multiplayer missions that are like.
And then they didn't show the gameplay, which got leaked, which still didn't look the greatest. I don't really care so much about that, but the all of that stuff, as Cowboy said, we are in a moment where I felt the same way when like multiple good fantasy movies and TV shows started coming out. I'm like, thank God, because I'm a big fan of fantasy. They're getting their due. Now we're at the superhero times getting their due. And then you have this B-tier theater troupe show up, and you're like, who the fuck are these doughboys? Like, none of them. Like, dude, I could have been Black Widow and looked better. Like, I could have just been like, hey, everybody, I'm Black Widow. And then no Hawkeye, and they're like, don't worry, we have Hawkeye. Well, you know what?
They reveal fucking Hank Pym as a DLC character.
Yeah, and they even had the gall.
I'm like, okay, that's what we were
They
looking
even had
for.
the gall that when later somebody said, is that Hank Pym? And they're like, oh, it's good you asked, because we call him Hank. Yes, that is. It's of course he is. He's shrinking fucking people. His name's Hank. Who the fuck else would he be? Excuse my language. God damn it. Sorry.
I don't care.
I don't want to. Anyway, it was a terrible reveal. It was. I would say it goes down as one of the top probably 10 of all the E3s I've seen. Terrible reveals because they showed all that but didn't show gameplay. That was leaked. There were all kinds of. There was weird problems all over with that. Then they said, "Oh, locations are free. Great. New characters will be free. That's also great." But they had the same thing that you were talking about with Wolfenstein, where this data that we're getting is at cross purposes with what we're being told prior, and you have these weird things. Oh, there are microtransactions here, but they're not here. They're here, and somebody then comes and says, "Oh, that's not what's actually happening." So I think we're gonna have to wait. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to wait until the next event to see what is even. I'm not even sure about the free locations, and they stated right there on the stage, these are free locations and free heroes, most likely microtransactions for better suits, because that's the first thing we're all going to buy. I'd rather fucking that dude walk around naked than what they're wearing. But dude, I was just confused with the entire thing.
The way I looked at it, it was not a courageous reveal. Let's show this off. You know, when you come out, you really don't show the game, and then you talk about lack of loot box, you talk about lack of pay to win, you talk about stuff being free. You're selling me on how my money's being spent. Exactly. Yeah. You're not selling me on the game. You're saying if you buy the game, you know, you might get some. You're not going to encounter bullshit. It's like, but what about the game? Because that's the thing I said immediately after it ended. I was like, I don't know anything about this game. I really don't. Like, they talked about it, and they're like, but like you said, Karak, they like revoked pretty much what they had said. And what I did see, I'm like, is this free flow? Like, it felt very like restrictive. How much destruction in the environment is there?
It almost reminded me of a rail shooter.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, I felt like it was almost constricting looking at it. I'm like, if this is gameplay, what are they trying to interpret? You know, or is this just like a CGI movie? Like, I didn't quite understand it. And what I had seen is generally that people were saying, yeah, there's a reason they did not show gameplay, and it's because it's not very good.
Well,
I think
Ultimate
it's-
Alliance looked good, so that already beat it for me.
That's
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
mean,
saying.
Ultimate Alliance that's like a legendary couch
That's a
co-op with
legit-
buddies plan.
Yeah.
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 I think, I mean, not to, I know it's already dug its own grave, but the one saving grace of Anthem is like when you play that game, you feel like you're fucking Iron. Like,
Right.
I made a loadout that had like the pulse laser and the rockets, and I was like, I am Iron Man.
The
I had color
Robotech
scheme.
rockets that do the
Yeah.
weird swirl when they hit, and,
And
you're like,
then-
yeah.
And it's like, I know I'm gonna go into this game. Square's gonna probably be like, here's a review code. I'm gonna jump into it, and I'm gonna be like, this is an Iron Man. You lied.
Yeah. Right.
Ugh.
Yeah.
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 Really
That was a big miss for me, man.
Yeah, I agree.
What
One of the
did
things
y'all
I was
think
most
about,
looking forward to.
What do you think about that Outriders game? I mean, we only got like a cinematic trailer, but that looked kind of reminded me of like a Dune almost, like on a hellish. It was like the three people, and there was like some crazy ass like Stranger Things alien showing up, and they were on what looked to be some type of planet, something Mars reminiscent with like the reds and the destructive things going on. And
It led me wanting to know more. I was definitely
it,
curious. Yeah, I saw it. I don't remember much from it. I just remember like when it concluded, I was like, I want to know more. Like,
This was in Squares as well.
Yeah. Square showed a lot.
It snuck in there with everything else.
I had been up for 18 hours, so I might have been so mad about Avengers. I don't remember. I'll have to go look it up.
Avengers. It came before
okay.
Avengers,
Yeah, weird. I didn't.
I mean, it was short. They gave it. It got a. It basically got a reveal trailer, and that was it. But
yeah, and a guy talked on stage, and then he kind of pieced out. It was pretty quick.
Okay.
I know it was a lesser announcement, but they. I already picked it up. They added Last Remnant onto the Switch. I'm super happy.
My friend said the story, and that sucks. Is that true?
The story is kind of potato, but the
combat's good in Last Remnant.
Yeah, the combat and class development is probably one of the most in depth of that generation of RPGs.
Wow, man!
Like the amount of max min potential is like I picked it up on the Switch immediately, even though I got the remaster on PlayStation 4. Discovered it was a terrible game to try and stream because I was tired of explaining stuff to people, and then promptly bought it on Switch and caught up to where I was like one night laying in bed playing.
Makes sense. Yeah, I thought about it, but I want to get Cadence of Hyrule. I don't know. I'm deciding.
Have you ever played Necrodancer?
On my not my Switch, my Vita. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because it's weird because I'm excited for it. I think it's a great game. I mean, I think we're before we get, are we done with Square?
We can we'll move on. We'll move on. Yeah, let's just move straight into Nintendo.
It's so weird because like it wasn't really my kind of jam. I played it a bit and I enjoyed Necrodancer, and Cadence of Hyrule is it's essentially the same thing. It's Necrodancer in the Zelda atmosphere, and it's a cool game. I hope it sells well. I expect it to sell well, but it's just not really for me. And I don't know if they've added this, but I know one of the things that always just blew my mind with Necrodancer, at least, is you could upload your own music and then play the game to that beat. So I was jamming out playing it to like some Daft Punk stuff, like playing like harder, better, faster, stronger, and like moving to the beat and attacking stuff. And I've never to this day experienced that level of like fusion and gameplay. It's neat.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to giving it a shot. I haven't bought it yet, but I think tonight I might give it a whirl, given I have the time because I want to stream as well.
It's one of those games you need to be just quiet place by yourself because you're gonna start jamming out and bobbing your head, and it'll do it to you.
Good stuff. Nintendo's. I thought they had the most exciting and enjoyable E3 presentation of anybody because it was just raw gameplay.
Seems to be a theme with them.
Yeah,
they do it.
Yeah,
really
they
well.
just do a video and it's really well cut.
Yeah, like,
I usually don't watch their stuff, but I watched it this year and I liked what I saw, and I might sit down for more directs. Normally, I just don't tune in and I just catch up on videos and stuff afterwards. But it was fun to be a part of, so I might do more of that. But yeah, what did you guys like from it? I mean, there was a lot. There was Smash DLC, Breath of the Wild sequel. I mean, Luigi's Mansion. There's Mario and Sonic Olympic games. You know, there was a lot there. Astral Chain, which is my personal favorite of everything we saw.
Yeah, that was honestly that's probably my there's a lot of good stuff on that list, but Astral Chain is probably the one thing I'm itching. Like I'm a bit of a Fire Emblem fan, but
man, that looks good too. Fuck, I forgot.
I don't know, man. Recently, I find myself more and more not enjoying turn-based games anymore.
Really?
Which is weird because I grew up with turn-based RPGs, Pokemon, Final Fantasy, what have you, and it's like the last like 3 I tried playing, I'm like, I can't do it. I just can't do it anymore, and I don't know what it is, but so more Fire Emblem. I mean, part of it's I didn't finish the last one on the DS.
Yeah,
the
Conquest.
Switch.
I beat Conquest and the what was the other one? It's Fire Emblem Fates, Conquest, and Birthright. That's what it was.
I beat Conquest. I was halfway through Birthright. There was the third one, and then the Switch came out, and I was just like, I'm sorry, baby, you're going to the closet. You're never going to get touched again.
Yeah.
And that was the end of the DS, and I'm kind of like, do I? It looks beautiful, and it looks like they've really ramped it up, but I'm like,
I want a Fire Emblem story to care about. I enjoy it because of like the investment of the characters and like you talked about building like monster babies in Dragon Quest, kind of a similar thing in Fire Emblem where you ship 2 characters you really like and you see their kid grow into like one of your best fighters. I think that's like one of the coolest fucking things in the game.
Yeah.
I'm excited to experience that, but I want them to give me like a story to carry about it. And I also am going to play this one on the more traditional Monster Hunter difficulty, permadeath, because maybe that's why I fail at investing. I mean, I really liked Awakening.
Oh yeah, no, you'll invest real fast when you finally get that child that's like the God Knight, and then he dies on his first mission, and you're like, no.
Yeah. So I'm thinking like that's probably what I have to do. I might be being my own worst enemy. I love the series, and I think I'm aware that maybe it'd be better if I played on permadeath, but I'm also a pussy. But yeah, man, it looks great. I thought there was so much there. I was thrilled. Granted, we saw this in the Nintendo Direct, but I still want to touch on it. I meant the Nintendo Direct before for Pokemon, because Pokemon Sword and Shield with its open areas, it negated literally everything I said in my video following the reveal, where I was like, yo, man, I did not like that reveal. It looked like a 3DS game in the terms of like fixed cameras, position trainers. It didn't look exciting at all. And then, now we see like open areas, there are actually a Pokemon in there, and like you'll see like a Gyarados in the water, and like based off their respective regions, they are where they have to be. That's what I wanted to see, even if it's like small chunks of the game where like locked camera, then open area while you're going from point A to point B. Like that's fine, man, because that's what I want. And the raid battles that you can do online, like that's the shit I was looking for. That was the shit I was looking for. So I'm really excited about that one too. That rose up my list real fast because I fell back in love with Pokemon with Sun and Moon. I really enjoyed those games, and I was ready to take another step into that, and I thought it was going to let me down, but so far it seems up my alley. Karak, what about you?
It's really nothing.
Oof.
Nothing?
No, Ultimate Alliance, but that's not even theirs. Fire Emblem, I don't like the stories ever. Gameplay's fun. That one that you were talking about, you named it with the police
Astral
officer. Yeah, that one looks awesome.
Oh
admittedly.
fuck yeah, that game's gonna be good. That game's gonna be good.
You look like a Dark Crystal guy, Karak.
Oh Jesus, yeah, Dark Crystal. Jesus Christ!
Wow,
I just
the
did a fucking
intuition
3
just
hour
on display.
I just did a 3-hour podcast
Wow,
about Dark Crystal.
impressive.
We
Holy
just did a
shit.
movie podcast on it. Yeah, Dark Crystal for sure. Like that. Yeah. Sorry.
I had the
Crystal.
weirdest thing with it because I had never seen Dark Crystal, and so 2 nights ago, me and the wife watched it, and then the next night I was watching South Park, and there was Granny Skeksis in the episode,
No.
and then the next day, the Switch game is revealed, and I'm like, what is going on? Why is
Yeah,
there so
no
much
shit.
Dark Crystal in my life all of a sudden?
That's crazy. And the TV show looks fucking amazing. Yeah, Dark Crystal, I'm legit excited for. Yeah, I love to see that kind of old stuff come forward. That is great to me. Now, if they do a Willow, I would probably... Willow and Legend, I would be incredibly happy. But yeah, Dark Crystal fucking looks awesome. Definitely in for that. I think with
That
Nintendo,
reminds
it's
me
just...
of the TV show that Ubisoft announced during their press conference. We forgot
Division?
to talk about that. Yeah. No, I don't think it was Division. They announced some comedy show.
Yeah, the Mystic Knights or whatever, where they're the
about
office,
game devs
but in a
and
game dev.
like the guy comes out on stage, he's like, I invited the most funny people I know. Just shit like that. Hey, sorry, I didn't mean to go off track.
No, that's all right. I was just gonna say with Nintendo, I'm not as big of a Pokemon fan or what have you, but they showed a lot of cool stuff. I'm more for Nintendo. I usually wait till it's closer, and I see a little bit more of their stuff before jumping on whatever. I got burned too because the last Nintendo review I did was that fucking Travis. No, it wasn't Travis. Yeah, was it Travis? Travis Strikes Again.
Oh,
is that the one?
No More Heroes or whatever? I was trying to remember, yeah.
The one terrible one. Like, God, that was a disaster.
The one thing
I think that's what it was.
Kind of on the note of terrible, have you, Maddie, I know you're a little bit into mechs. Did you play the Daemon X Machina demo at all?
I did, and I did not like it.
Dude, I'm right in the same boat. It felt like the whole freaking thing was autopilot, and it killed any hype that I had for that game.
I'm a huge
I think they
mech
delayed
fan.
it, right? Wasn't it supposed to come out in? It was supposed to come out in May, I think.
It's like a slight over the shoulder, so it's third person but close camera, and like I was playing and they're like the first gun, you got to auto, you have to lock on and then press the button to fire, but you're pretty much just controlling your flight. And then I get the next gun, and it's like this gun locks and shoots on its own. I'm like, great, all I gotta do is just fucking fly around, I guess, and everything on the screen dies. Like, this is not. Why is this a thing? And I think part of it's because I come from this background of Armored Core, and I love Armored Core, which I'm still pissed because FromSoft didn't announce a new one yet, and the last time we had one.
I remember you saying you wanted one.
Dude, the last time we had one was the 360 PS3 era. And it's like, I know you're making it, Miyazaki. Now tell me where it's at. Like, I need to get him 5 minutes in an elevator, and I'll get it out of him. But I need my mech building, because I don't know if you guys have played Armored Core, but it is
Armored Core is awesome.
it is the top tier of mech games. You every single component, all your loadouts, and you have so much. I mean, I had mechs that would, their whole thing was shooting off one giant missile, and that was it. After that, they were useless. And I had mechs that would speed up and blast you with shotguns. I had laser mechs. I had everything. And I'm like, I need this. And I saw Daemon X Machina, and I was like, this is gonna scratch that itch. And then just like you, I played it, and I was like, this is not going to scratch that itch.
Goes in that folder of insta delete for me. I played like 20 minutes. I was like,
I already and
in the trash.
Uninstalled, never come back.
Yep. And very rarely do I do that, because like, as you guys know, I'm like a discussion channel. We have the podcast here, but like, so many of my videos revolve around discussions, comparing, contrasting, and I like to experience everything because of that, or as much as I can, rather. And so, like, it takes a lot for me just to go, fuck this. It's just like, and just delete it. One of the, I want to say surprising, because we had heard rumors, but everyone was like, no way, it's not happening. The Witcher 3, or rather the Switcher 3 Complete Edition. Holy smokes. I was so fucking blown away by that. That might have been my most hype announcement. It's going to look awful. It's 540p, but
540p, baby. It's all up in your grill.
But I'm amazed it's happening. That's what everyone cares about. It's happening.
It's a
I want to play it that way.
For sure.
I will never dock that game, though. I will never dock that game. That will look horrendous. Holy shit. Holy shit. I'm surprised they did it, though. I'm surprised.
Yeah, it's incredibly impressive. Like, I never... I mean, at this point, it was a meme, the idea of Witcher coming to the Switch. I did not think they'd actually do it.
All on one cartridge, too. One cartridge.
Yeah, they splurged for the extra 32 gig cartridge. Thank God.
Smart move.
I think when we saw Assassin's Creed 3, I just put all my preconceived notions of what they'll try on that system out the.
Yeah, but like,
even
3 isn't
Assassin's
as big
Creed 3
as
is terrible.
I thought
on
3
the
was the most trash Assassin's Creed made.
You mean
once you get past
normally
Sequence
too?
6, it's
Yeah.
great. I love that game after
3
Sequence 6.
was now AC4, because 3 was like, hey, we kind of want to be pirates, and 4 was like, oh, we're here to steal your women and gold. 4 was a masterpiece. 3 was just a hot pile of Sunday trash waiting to get picked up.
I fucking love 3. That's the thing. Like, it's not that great, but like, once you get into like the actual assassin role, and that's like half the story. Once you get past that point, oh my god, I love like the homestead. I love the setting. I like what's his name, Connor. I love his voice actor. Like, just a lot about that game I really fucking like. And I know it's like a hot take because it's not a good game. It's just there's just stuff I like about it that speaks to me.
It's probably my least.
Fucking helping Ben Franklin, like that shit's just cool to me.
I like that actually. I like I've always liked the historical stuff, the historical quests, seeing somebody from. But back to Witcher 3, you're right. Assassin's Creed is not as big, but that's what I'm saying. Is once I saw Assassin's Creed 3, I was just like, whatever, they'll try anything.
They'll do anything.
Yeah, and dude, Skyrim Switch is my favorite version of Skyrim. So who knows?
I can't, man. I know we talked
turn
about
around
this
and
before. I wish I could experience the way you have, but mods have just ruined that game.
Yeah. Well, I think they've ruined it for me, but it's been so long since I've really played Skyrim with mods on the PC that I'm okay with it. But yeah, I get that because I do like my mods. But it could turn around and be the shit. I don't think it will. But CD Projekt Red also doesn't strike me as a company that's not going to make sure it's at 30 frames per second, right? Like 540p is probably a concession to that. So who knows? If it's the full adventure, fuck it, man. Whatever. That's cool. And it's going to have all the 8,000 hours of expansions. So
yeah, when I saw Complete Edition, I was like, what? Because like that's the thing. I saw the trailer. I was like, oh shit, that's The Witcher 3. Like I knew right away because of the branches and the way the wind was blowing. It's amazing how I picked up on that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I knew right away. I'm like, oh, that's The Witcher 3.
Blood and Wine, I would argue, is probably one of the best expansions ever made to it.
Yeah, and so for me, I'm like, at the end, the trailer concludes and it says the Complete Edition. I go, what? They got all the fucking DLC on this too?
Yeah, it's gonna
that's
be crazy
insane,
to
man.
see. I'm more interested in it from a technical aspect of like,
that's honestly where I lie.
Yeah, it's just, and that's cool to me. It's cool, and it also shows that if they can try this Switch 2, which I want
coming out this year, man.
Once we see a more powerful system, backwards compatible for some of these, be interesting. From a tech standpoint.
I'm sorry, but
wait.
If I'm Nintendo, I just view from their perspective that there's no way you create Witcher on the Switch and don't have in the back of your pocket like some more powerful version coming out soon that can bump that from 540 to 720. Maybe that's asking a little too much, but I'm saying
no, it's
bumping
not because 540 is low.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying maybe that's too much fidelity. I don't know. Yeah. Look, I don't know, but because it's got to incorporate that portability factor, but. I just feel like they're eventually going to do that because that would be a big feat, right? Imagine that, like saying like now you can experience The Witcher 3 like 30 FPS, 720p on the go and docked. Like that would be kind of neat. And I'm usually not sold on that stuff, but I think it could be like a good thing to boast because a lot of these Switch games lean more on the art style that isn't so tech exhausting, such as Link's Awakening on the Switch, which is coming out September 20th.
Look, that one I'm very interested in.
The music, bro. The music. Because that's like one of the first games I ever played, one of like the first on the Game Boy Color, and when I heard the house music, I went. It just like I literally was sitting on stream and I got hit by my childhood. I was like, holy fuck! I know the chair I was sitting in my first house. Like holy smokes! I knew exactly where I was at when I heard that song. Excellent stuff.
Still, Mr. Matty learns to play at that point.
I was. I was Mr. Matty playing a lost Game Boy Color that eventually got returned to by my neighbor. It was purple. And then I got my own, which was lime green.
Panzer Dragoon, that was cool to see.
God, I'm such a fan of Panzer Dragoon.
I never played it. Wasn't.
I was never too big on it, but it's a cool game.
I'm just waiting for this to be a test so we can get Panzer Dragoon Saga. Because if we get Panzer Dragoon Saga, that's when you'll see me freak about it in a game. Or whoever releases it.
A lot of people freaked about, speaking of collection of mana.
Yeah.
Is that good? Like, I was really interested in that.
It's not Legend of Dragoon good, but it's still good.
What's good about Legend of Dragoon, though? Because that seemed like a on-rails dragon shooter.
The combat... So when Legend of Dragoon came out, it introduced changes to turn-based combat that we really hadn't seen at that point. I mean, to be completely honest, it's been so long.
Oh, wait, am I mixing it up? Hold on. I don't mean to interrupt you.
About it, but I just remember Legend of Dragoon being an amazing experience. That's all I remember about it, is that it was amazing, and I remember popping the Dragoon suit and then being badass and executing crazy moves.
I mixed it up. Panzer Dragoon. That's what I was... I don't know if they're the same series.
That's real. No. This is... the Legend of Dragoon is closer to like your Final Fantasy Legend of Mana, your turn-based RPG.
Okay, my bad. Yeah, I mean, because they announced like a Trials of Mana, I think it's like a remake or something of like the third game that's in that collection of Mana. Looks neat. I was interested because we haven't had a Tales game since Berseria, so it's like I've had that itch for a Tales style combat. So yeah, when I saw Trials of Mana, I was like, oh, this actually looks really neat. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, really high on my list. Super excited about that one. Exactly what I wanted to be. We got the whole character roster reveal. They got fucking Nightcrawler in there now.
The only thing I'm not sure about, I don't know if it's going to have couch co-op. I don't think it is. From what I was looking at, it looks like it's single player and online co-op only. And I was really hoping for some 4-player Diablo-esque action throwing down with friends at the house, and I don't know if it's going to add that. And that would be like a major, I guess, fallback for me.
I just feel like they might not because it's the Switch. You know?
That's my thing. I have a projector downstairs, and so I put a Switch dock up there. Mm-hmm. Anytime people come over, I'll put that up there. You have so many good couch co-op games on there, like Smash, Mario Party, Mario Kart. I picked up Worms.
Worms, holy shit! Yeah,
that's a party classic, man.
That's a good
people
one.
Upset because they can't use the ninja rope, right?
They do say it is couch co-op.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, good.
As long as it is, I'm ready to go on it.
What else do we got here?
It'll be the typical couch co-op where like you're restricted, to the
you're
one
on the
screen.
same screen together.
Yeah, and I think that with that concession, then they can do it technically overall.
Because
it looked like it was 30.
And it's a blast to play.
I love Diablo 3 on console co-op. Yeah, that is a great game.
What else? Animal Crossing New Horizons, March 20th. We talked about that a little bit, but really big deal for a lot of folks. What were you going to say?
What about the PC game show? You want to talk about any of that?
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember last year you were talking about
Maneater.
That came on back.
Oh! And they showed it, and it looked like Echo the Dolphin with fucking teeth. It looks so good. And they're like, you can upgrade your shark with metal teeth to chew through boats. And I'm like, Jesus, I want this game so bad. Yeah, that game, even for an alpha, it looked pretty slick swimming around and stuff. They also showed Remnant, which
it looks like a good take on Sci-Fi Soul.
Yep. Because there was
something
cool.
that came out. It was like Sundered Soul of the Lost. It was some kind of sci-fi shooter Souls game, and it reviewed terribly. The Steam was like 5 out of 10, and I tried playing it, and after an hour I was like, I can't put this trash on.
Yeah, I think it was called Sundered because I think somebody in my Discord reviewed it on their channel.
But Remnant looks.
I heard
very
about
good.
Yeah, I got to look into that because once I heard like shooting and Souls, I thought that's an interesting combination.
Well, it's not only that, but they said like enemy are procedurally generated, but the loot that you get from them is connected to them. So if like they're attacking you with a flamethrower, you get the item, but they said they won't dumb it down. So if you grab their powerful boss item, you have that powerful boss item.
Yeah.
Like,
very cool.
So it's not like, oh, you get a +1 for a fire effect. It's like, no, if you kill this main boss and he's attacking you with something, you get that thing from him for your next enemies.
Yeah, it looks like the kind of game you're going to bury hours into.
Yeah.
Okay,
well, and
I gotta check it out.
I'm a Hellgate London fan, which wasn't even that good, and I put thousands of hours in that. Yeah. And I would say Remnant looks like a spiritual successor to it. So, yeah, that would probably
and when
be
does that come out?
That's next... No, wait a minute. That's next year. Isn't it? Is that next year? I think it's next year.
What is it called?
I could be wrong. Remnant.
No, available August 20th.
Oh, no, shit, that was the one that we were... Yes, it is available this year. I apologize. Yeah.
From the Ashes?
That looked awesome. No, it's just Remnant.
Remnant from the Ashes. It's in
is it From the Ashes for subtitle?
In the Discord.
Yeah, so that looked cool. PC Gaming Show actually had a lot of good stuff.
I was surprised.
Gunfire Games. Doesn't Gunfire make... Didn't they make Darksiders?
I think they were involved in it. Let me see. Gunfire was...
Yeah, Gunfire...
Darksiders
3. They're not doing 4. They did 3. Or they're not doing the Genesis.
They did Darksiders 2, 3...
I like the change for Darksiders. The Diablo-esque thing. I think that's a good swap.
Yeah, so do I.
That's really smart. I was stoked about that when I saw it. I think that fits... what's his name? Strife
better.
I think that fits him well. And if they let you play as like the other ones as well, on top of that, because they said it's going to be co-op, like you can access all 4 of the horsemen, I think that'll be excellent. That'd be really cool.
The PC Gaming Show also showed a good number of indie games as well that were very cool. They showed, I think that's where was that where Minecraft Dungeons was shown? Or was that
was shown?
I think that was shown in Microsoft's actually.
That was. It was.
Oh, okay, that was shown in Microsoft.
Because I remember saying like, "Holy crap! I love the days in high school where my friends and I would go on Minecraft and we just don't know what would happen, and you just build and dig and make stuff, and I love that procedural generation for that time period, and the idea of carrying that into this genre where procedural generation works, and doing it in like maybe a little mix of exploration, killing, and looting.
Yeah.
I think something about that is a really good marriage. It sounds great. Pretty excited for it.
I think the one that surprised me the most, kind of out of nowhere, and it doesn't even look that crazy, but Midnight Ghost Hunt.
Oh, dude.
That looks like it's so much fun.
My God, and I'm a huge fan of Ghostmaster on the Sega Genesis, and where you basically take over items and try to scare somebody away. Except this one, you take over items in deathmatch, and they were showing some and it's one guy. It's a single fucking programmer making all of that. Wow. Yeah, that game looked good.
It's gonna be like a top tier stream game to play with.
For sure.
Pull viewers in, you play as the ghost or some shit. Like
yeah, or have your Discord able to do adjustments to your game. Yeah, that game really looked good for one person. I mean, you have to take that into account. It is just one guy.
Interesting. Sounds great. Any other last minute?
So there are two we didn't mention. The first, Ori and the Will-O-the-Wisps, they showed all the boss battles in the Microsoft event. That was,
dude, when he's pulled out the bow and arrow, I got pumped.
Yes, and when the wolf comes and the boss wolf comes and attacks him, Ori, they just graphically, those guys have nailed like that look. And then I got to talk to two people who on the show floor got to play Rare's 4 versus 4 fighter, which we didn't talk about.
Oh, Bleeding Edge. It's because we talked about it the week before. That's the thing. Yeah, it threw off my pacing. Yeah, that game could be really cool too.
Did you see people on the show floor are like, dude, this game is like legit good. There were multiple people doing videos on it saying of all the games on the show floor they played, that one is the most fun.
Is it supposed to be kind of like we'll say For Honor? Like 4v4 battles, or is it supposed to be like, remember how I've mentioned it so many times recently, but it's supposed to be like Death Row, where I said it's like fighting but scoring? Because if it's like that, I'll fucking geek out.
You know, I didn't see any of that in the videos. I just heard them saying like it did look. Remember, because we talked about this, and I said that trailer looks farther along than, because like collision detection was done right. There were some, like, it looked far along.
Yeah, and they called it a technical alpha, though. I was like, what?
Yeah, and the people on the show floor that I talked to were like, dude, this is fucking legit. Like, it is a blast to play. And once again, anything that goes on to Evo or, you know, any of the fighting champion, I would love to see more of these kind of games. Yeah. Smash, we see, is already there, of course. But you've got your Street Fighter from fucking 1942. I mean, Jesus Christ. Like, you've got these old granddaddy games, and this game comes along, and at least from what people are saying, it is incredibly fun to play. So that one, actually, I'm more interested in than most. Just, I would like to see a game like that do well and be fun. And it looked good, man. It looked good. Those are the only two I can think of that we really talk about.
I feel like I've talked about everything, especially once Cowboy sent us a list. I was kind of making sure I
what about
everything.
I think a fun closeout. What about things that you were hoping for that we still know nothing about?
Fable 4 and Rocksteady. I know they confirmed it, but Rocksteady, I want to know what the fuck they're working on, man. They have been off the radar for a while. That, for me, those are the two instantly. I'm so keen to know more about both those games. And KOTOR HD, but, you know.
I will not cheat, because those were my answers, and my other answer would be, I thought we were going to see Harry Potter leaked trailer.
Oh yeah, holy shit!
And which makes me think it was Rocksteady. I'm just saying, but because we don't know who was working on it, but that game looked like there was something there that could be quite enjoyable in that leak, and I was really interested in seeing that. I thought we were going to see that.
That was an Avalanche game for some reason. I thought I remember hearing that.
I don't know. That would be very cool if it was Avalanche. I like some of their stuff, but I just wanted to see it.
I'll double check that. I may have just mixed things up, but anyway.
That would be mine. What about you, Cowboy?
I mean, I mentioned Armored Core already, which is sad, but the big thing I still haven't seen is Shin Megami Tensei. And Nintendo, they revealed it at the Switch launch.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Oh, and it's gone.
It's just been silent. It's like it just, I mean, it's still, Alice still has their website up to it, but that's it. There's been like no news on it.
Have you ever reached out to them and just nudged them?
It's Alice. I don't even have a contact for. You go to their contact page, and it's one of those like co.jp contacts.
Oh, gotcha.
I'll, when I go to Japan, I'll show up to their office. Where is this?
Yeah, be like, excuse me. Also, I will say Blair Witch surprised me. I thought it was Alan Wake too.
that I hope that recaptures what
Me too.
God, what was it? Outlast? Because I loved the original Outlast. Outlast 2, I just didn't. I hated it.
Yeah,
I felt it was more Scream tactics than like general spookiness, and Blair Witch looked like it had that general spook.
And my entire Discord thought it was Alan Wake, so did I. Same Bronco, same flashlight. So we were all going, "What the fuck? Remedy lied. Like they've got an Alan Wake." And then they showed it, and they show the guy in the corner, of course, the Blair Witch moment.
Yeah.
And it looked suitably creepy. So I was really excited that.
So
I just like the guy. He's like panning the camera. There's nothing, and then you see the thing, and he's like, "Oh fuck this!" And I'm like, yes!
Which is exactly what I would do.
I like this.
Yeah. So, Eurogamer had a whole article about it. They said fingers initially pointed to Batman Arkham developer Rocksteady being the behind the game, which would make some sort of sense. Rocksteady is a British studio and is owned by Harry Potter game publisher Warner Bros. Interactive. More to the point, Rocksteady has been silently working away on its next project for some time now, but Eurogamer sources with knowledge of Rocksteady's next game have confirmed this Harry Potter thing is not it. So, if not Rocksteady and not some random internet stoner, then who else might be working on a Harry Potter role player? Step Up Utah-based Avalanche Software, which previously made the Disney Infinity series, not to be confused with Swedish Avalanche Studios of Just Cause fame. After the cancellation of Disney Infinity back in 2016, Avalanche was briefly closed, but then brought up by Warner Bros. Interactive.
Okay.
That's pretty good news for you, Karak. You love Disney Infinity, don't you? Or is that
Skylanders? Dude, yeah, Skylanders is what I call it. I don't know what the fuck Skylanders is. Skylanders, Disney Infinity. I'm a Gauntlet fan, like old style Gauntlet. So any of those.
Oh god, I miss that.
Dude, whenever like the elf is about to die, I'm like, so am I, man. So am I. I just love that shit. So yeah, I like those. But I'm a Harry Potter fan. I'm a Batman fan. I like that style of gameplay. So mixing those two.
Yeah, look at this. Job postings from early 2017 called for a staff with a deep understanding of British culture and grammatical presentation, with a good knowledge of gaming narrative and branching storytelling, particularly in the realm of RPGs.
Dude, yeah, I would be all over that.
Writings on the wall. It took me a second to hear. I mean, it gives me hope that Rocksteady's making a Ninja Turtles game. That's what I want. Oh, fuck. That'd be fucking sick.
You mean more than the rumored, like,
Batman
DC,
game?
Everybody Batman game?
Oh, I mean, like, anything Rocksteady makes, I'll be jazzed about. Just, like, I feel they are the developers who would actually make a legitimately good Ninja Turtles game. And since that license isn't owned by anybody now, Activision lost it, which is why all their, like, digital Ninja Turtles games and Spider-Man games completely disappeared off the market. It has me keen that like Rocksteady could do something with that, but I mean it's just like there was rumors way back that it was happening, so maybe there's a chance, but I wouldn't count on it. We'll see.
I guess lastly, Lego.
I was
actually surprised.
Skywalker Saga, yeah, that was pretty cool.
All new games, completely new games, and they changed. You can now do a viewpoint behind the character, like Tomb Raider, Gears of War, third person. There's flying, there's spaceship battles. Your spaceship is customizable as your hub, and you can go to any game world from any planet or from any of the movies in any order you want.
They have been consistently just knocking out those games, and like they're all.
I don't play them, but I wonder.
The games from what I hear.
I mean, the only one I didn't like was the very last one as much, which was I can't like. Fuck, what was that? It wasn't like I liked Villains. It was the one right after Villains. But yeah, they have really done
movie 2? Was it?
It was movie 2. That is what it was. Yeah, I liked the setup. It just didn't capture me as much as like Villains and stuff like that. So yeah, I was excited to see that. I know for a lot of people, especially our age, they're not into it. But for whatever reason, smashing up people and watching them fly apart is always fun.
It's got a charm to it. They're enjoyable. I play them a little more sporadically. Like the last one I played was
Avengers.
I tested.
You reviewed it.
Yeah, I was going to say we have Lego Marvel superheroes too, because I tested DC Villains, but the time it came out, I was just swamped. They offered me a code for review, and I was just like, I can't do it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I have yet to get around to it, and I think that's good because it lets these games be a little more refreshing because I invest in IPs I care more about. But at 2 hours and 43 minutes, I've made the executive decision. What we're going to do is next week.
Is this a record, by the way?
We're getting close. We're getting close. 3 hours and I think 20 or 10 minutes is our record.
Whew.
I know. But just for the sake of our listeners and ourselves with our schedules, because it's 7:30 right now, I will wrap this up and we will combine patron questions from this week and next week based off what happens throughout the week of gaming. And we'll do all that together. So, just because, like, I think the focus was mainly just the conferences this episode, and we'll just get everyone's E3 related questions in next week. But anyway, Cowboy, it has been fantastic having you, my friend.
It's been a blast.
Dude, it's good to be back. I'll come back next year.
You come back. You come back at least like twice a year.
That,
yeah.
But...
No, we already remember we planned a Code Vein episode, so you'll be back.
We
then.
did.
Yeah.
Full site.
We have that plan. So expect Cowboy back then. I'll have the link to his channel in the description. Please do check him out. Great stuff, great walkthroughs, great senpai. Be sure to give him a look. And Karak stuff is down below as well. But anyway, if you are listening on the go or wherever, thank you for giving us your time. And we'll see you guys next week. And we'll be live next week. So peace out.
Peace out.